Oh, I already have $10 to give you.
What's up, man? We're live on the air, Paul.
Oh, okay, yeah.
What up, guys? Yeah, we can check that out a little later. Welcome to the first Bitcoin and Beers Pub Night. I think
Yeah. Woohoo!
I should play the welcome to the first Bitcoin. Whoa, made a play the theme song. Where is it? I don't know where you are.
You looking for the loudest spot? Well, it's right here. Yeah, need to come and kick it with Bitcoin and beers. Yeah, delay.
All right. Where the heck is everybody?
Yeah. Well, I guess we can get started. So one of the things that happened interestingly in the space today was that the individual responsible for holding the funds from the Mt. Gox debacle has indicated that he's not selling any more Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash, presumably currently. Currently. So.
What's up, Eli? Sorry, we just kind of got started. Paul was in the middle of updating us on some recent news when you popped in, but.
Hey guys, sorry, I had a little bit of echo there, getting the kinks worked out.
Yeah, so I was talking about the thing that happened in the news today was that the individual responsible for holding the funds of for the people who were involved in the Mt. Gox debacle, he's not selling off any more Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash, presumably indefinitely. We keep hearing a lot of bullish news recently. Obviously the market has not been as good today, but I just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that.
Yeah, so we're still getting goxed. That's not very good to see, but it was kind of to be expected, wasn't it? Because there's still a lot of coins that were up for sale, and whoever is in custody of those coins wants to sell them at the highest price possible. So he's going to sell some now. And then I've heard some speculation that if we go into a long extended bear, those coins the remaining coins probably won't come on the market until the next bull run.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you guys think.
Well, the way I understand it is that because Mt. Gox was incorporated in Japan, people who lost funds as a result of that are only entitled to the value of those funds in Japanese yen, basically. And because obviously the price of Bitcoin has increased, you have more funds than you have more funds than necessary. So what's going to happen to the remainder of those funds that once everyone's paid back, there's going to be a lot of extra money. Do people get paid back even more than they're entitled to? Does it just go into government coffers? What happens?
So are you saying that all of the Bitcoins have already been sold and it's all in Japanese yen right now?
No. But what I'm saying is if you had funds on Mt. Gox's exchange in Bitcoin at the time when it crashed, and you lost access to those funds because they were hacked, you're entitled to the value of that at the time, at the time that you lost it. But that value is in yen, so you are entitled to that. And it's been a long process for those people to get their funds back. But ultimately, I think the vast majority of people have gotten their funds back. Maybe not everyone, but because as you convert from Bitcoin to yen right now, given the price where Bitcoin is at right now, people have gotten, already getting fully paid back, essentially. So what do you do with the excess money that you essentially have?
That's a good question. I don't know if there's parties that could claim damages that some of that money could go towards, or if there's some taxes due that still have to be extracted. Yeah, my guess is as good as yours on that one.
Dan?
Yeah, I just have one kind of thing I'll add to that. My computer's kind of
Oh
broken.
yeah. By the way, this is Bitcoin and beers, and tonight I'm drinking Troubled Monk Homesteader. It's really nice. This is a local brewery from Red Deer. Highly recommend their beers. Awesome.
Hey, nice. Are they going to sponsor us?
Yes, we're gonna have a meetup here. Actually, within the next week or so at Troubled Monk. So pretty stoked.
Wicked. Yeah, is that for? That's not when the Bitcoin Meister's coming?
No, the Bitcoin Meisters. Are you gonna come down for that? By the way.
Oh yeah, man. I just got the time, so I'm free now. So I just
Cheers.
book a ticket. So yep, most likely.
Nice. Yeah, you gotta rep it, man. Should be within about the next week. We're gonna have a meetup at Troubled Monk, and I actually really want to do a presentation on Elastos. It's kind of really on my mind right now, and it's so cheap. It just went below $30 Canadian. So
yeah, like it was down one of the most cheaper coins for the dip today out of all the top 100. I think it was down almost 20%.
Almost 20%. Yeah, and I think the ICO price, as far as I know, it ICO'd on Neo, the Neo platform, and I think it was around $8 US is what people paid. So we're still at about 3x what people paid initially.
I thought it was down $21 today.
What's that?
Wasn't it $21 US? So that's less.
Yeah. I always think in Canadian dollars with crypto prices, but everybody always thinks in US, so I have to make that distinction. So yeah, I think it ICO'd at $8 US is what I understand initially, but now it's around.
Yeah.
How did it go?
That I think that was in January that it had its ICO, probably, if I remember correctly. Or not, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. This guy Ron Chan, he's a genius.
It's $22 right this second, so $22.78 US. So yeah, 2.5. I wonder what it is in in ETH value though, or Bitcoin.
Yeah, good question.
Anyways, yeah, it's you've been kind of repping it for a while.
Yeah, I first heard about it from a guy. Have you guys heard of a guy named Chico Crypto? Crypto in a cold one?
I know who he is, yes.
Yeah. I think he's actually kind of a smart guy. I like his commentary on crypto. He's a little bit understated. Like he wouldn't be the first guy that you would expect has a lot of wisdom on coins, but he goes to a lot of conferences. He talks to a lot of founders of these companies, and he really got excited about Elastos early. And it was just kind of sitting in the back of my head, and I started taking a look at what it actually was, and I think it's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Do you sort of know anything about it, or?
I don't know anything about Elastos specifically. There's just so many, I think increasingly these days with, like because the market has not been as good, all coins tend to underperform or do even worse than Bitcoin in the long bear markets, and the ICOs tend to do even worse than that. So if you look at the ICOs that have done well in the past 3 months, they're so few and far between. Especially if you're comparing to 6 months ago, where anything you get a return on, including on the ETH value itself. And then if you count the US dollar value, it was even higher. So these days it's very, very hard, I think, to find a diamond in the rough. And even if you do, sometimes it's good news. Like it just doesn't really move markets when it's when people are a little bit more pessimistic about the situation, about the market situation. So.
But doesn't that make you, from an investor standpoint, doesn't that make you excited? Isn't this a great time to be in crypto? Like when it's actually, like I personally, I was getting nervous when everybody was getting really excited about crypto, because for so long when I would talk about it, people would be laughing at me. Oh, hey.
Frank.
All right, finally made it.
I'm sorry about that link, man. I think the link I sent expired because I adjusted something in the settings for the video yesterday, and then maybe the link changed.
Oh, no worries.
My bad.
Hey, maybe Dan, could you do some introductions here?
Yeah, so this is Eli, guys. He's the Grand Poobah of Red Deer Bitcoin and Beers. And this is Frank. I don't think you've met Frank. I guess you've met Paul now. Have you guys met? Have you guys met in person yet?
No, I've never met Eli. No.
We've talked on WhatsApp a bunch of times, like we've texted.
Oh, yeah.
It's cool to actually get to see you guys.
Cool.
Mhm.
So what I miss?
Let's see. Well, I can play the theme song again. Do a screen share.
Back, but still we have beers. Check the website.
Do a screen share for
See
this.
just what it is. Every time we meet up, you already know.
Okay, then. But really, we were just chatting about Elastos and what else, Paul? Oh, the Mt. Gox thing. So,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, so kind of the last thing we were talking about was market sentiment and how right now people are just starting to really lose interest in these ICOs, and diamonds in the rough are going to get harder and harder to find, I think is what you just talked about.
Yeah. It's this is why it's always a good idea to do dollar cost average into the markets. For me, it's not even so much about investing anyways. I'm involved in the space, for a lot of other reasons other than making money. And if I happen to make money, great. But if I lose money or I'm up a little bit or down a little bit here, it's not really a big deal to me. I'm involved in it because I really like this space for political reasons, for philosophical reasons. There's a lot of good reasons to be involved, which other people may not share. And if you don't share those reasons, don't get involved. I would say it's a bad idea to just put money in the hopes of that you're going to make money out of it. That's gambling.
Yeah, we're all in it for the tech, right?
Well, I would ideally like to make some money out of it as well, but even if you told me, I'm not going to make money out of it, I would still be involved.
I would too, but I think that for me, it's really hard to separate completely the investor side from the philosophical side, because if the price goes way up and then crashes down to zero, I think we could lose a lot of momentum in the space.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that crypto could die necessarily, but I think it could take a lot longer for people to really adopt the technology if the price is super unstable. I mean, which it is going to be because it is a new technology and all that, but I don't want to see too much these huge crashes and have it go down to the point where people lose everything and then they're just turned off cryptocurrency forever,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, ultimately, it's really not possible, I think, for the price to go to zero. BitConnect still has value, and it will continue to have value. So the way I see it, if something is traded, then it has value, regardless of what that value is. But yeah, ideally, you want to minimize the volatility or lessen the volatility here. But
So I've never actually been able to go to a Vancouver meetup because I'm here in Red Deer. I just kind of wanted to ask you guys what the sentiment is like in Vancouver at your meetups there. Did you find most people are in for just pure investment reasons, or is there a lot of philosophical driven people or a lot of politically driven people? What did you feel your meetups is really comprised of?
I would say the price does play a point, because sometimes you'll notice that the turnout reflects the current price action. So towards the end of last year, we were huge numbers turning up. Sometimes we couldn't even accommodate a lot of the people there. Now, I mean, you saw Paul last Wednesday. There was the usual core group of people who, are just interested in crypto, want to learn as much as they can about it. So based on the price, you will get a larger number of people turn up, more based on price action. But when the price or the market sentiment's down, you get people who are philosophically and motivated by the tech and what it can offer, or just want to learn about it.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, Paul, I guess you did a meetup on Wednesday just a couple days ago, and there was a pretty slow turnout this week.
yeah. right now it's people lose a bit of interest because of the because of if it's because the money does play a part of it. The summer can also affect things as well because people have better things to do. I don't know. I was in Toronto a few weeks ago, and I found the differences between Vancouver and Toronto were pretty stark in contrast. In Toronto, everyone was still all about the money there. Even though it had gone down, I met a guy who lost millions of dollars in crypto in the last 6 months, and he wanted to know if he was asking me like all the time, is it gonna continue going down? Is it gonna go up sideways in circles? So I just found I think we have a better tech scene here. And people are a bit less focused on money, at least compared to Toronto. But yeah.
I also find with a smaller turnout, you can engage in more deeper conversation and dig down to educate those who are new and really want to come and learn. Like we had a new guy there, Shay, who's eager to learn. And in previous meetups, when the groups are larger, you wouldn't be able to spend as much time to like answer some questions they may have. But I found last week we were able to really dig down and just explain concepts, answer questions he had. Basically, he got a lot out of it that maybe wouldn't have got as much out of in the much larger turnout where price action was going insane upward trajectory. Everybody was there to know what the next price action was going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I think also it's hard to judge the fly in here. The sort of have a barometer for like an entire community based on the turnout of our group. We're just one group of many, and we might only appeal to a certain subculture within people that are interested in crypto anyway. But yeah, I mean, I guess people tend to talk about Vancouver as being a little bit more like East or West Coast lifestyle. So I can see why people might have a little bit more of an ideological sort of interest in the space rather than a purely speculative one. But I mean, I don't think that this technology works without it being having a value. I think that's the reason why it has its power in a lot of ways, right? So I mean, you can't just take that away from the conversation completely. So, but it's certainly interesting to see like the difference in the narrative for like our just sort of pub nights, or for example, when the price is going up versus when we're kind of in a slow time for price action. Interesting.
What about your meetups, Guy?
Yeah, so I've kind of noticed, I mean, we maybe got started a little bit later than Vancouver, so we were sort of at the tail end of the big bull run up when there was a lot of excitement and euphoria and stuff like this. So our experience has been a little bit different, and we've had a lot of growth even during this bear. So definitely I've noticed the big shift is more technical people showing up, maybe people more interested in the technology and the infrastructure side of it. I've had people show up from mining companies, crypto miners, and sort of that side of it. So it's good to see that, because it kind of lets me know that maybe we're coming out of this bubble that we were in. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. I think because in Red Deer, for example, you're probably the premier blockchain and crypto group in Red Deer or in that surrounding area for quite a ways. So it's a stupid flag, I gotta get it. Right? Versus in Vancouver, where we have a lot of options. We have, groups for technically oriented people, and then, and all kinds of other activities that people can do. So, but again, I mean, that's why I'm really stoked too on coming out to Red Deer and see, because it sounds like it's becoming a little bit of a hub out there. In a way. Yeah,
well, a lot of people don't know, but Alberta actually was really early to adopt crypto in a lot of ways. The first exchange that I ever used to buy Bitcoin in Canada was it's called CA Vertex. I don't know. Do any of you remember that exchange?
Yeah.
You remember CA Vertex?
I remember CA Vertex and Vault of Satoshi. I don't know if you remember that one.
Oh yeah, man! Awesome. We got an OG here. Good.
Oh hell yes. Yeah! Frank's serious OG.
So CA Vertex was run out of Calgary. So there's actually quite a bit of kind of early technological innovation in Alberta surrounding cryptos. So maybe that kind of explains why even during this bear, there's people who have heard about it.
You know where Hut 8 is based out of?
Not sure.
Hut 8 is based out of Vancouver, I believe.
No, man. I'm pretty sure that their main operations is in central Alberta.
They've partnered with another mining company called Bitfury, which is in Alberta, but I believe Hut 8's head office is here in Vancouver.
I just read that. I thought there was one in Toronto, but that I'm talking about their actual mining rigs, like their giant buildings full of, mining.
Yeah, well, I know they're partnered with Bitfury, so I guess they're doing it they're probably doing that out of Alberta.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
I think the power is probably cheaper in Alberta, anyways, even, like at the large scale, anyways, when you get those custom agreements.
Yeah, I think it's cheaper. I'm not an expert in mining, but from what I've been told, electricity is less expensive here. And because of the climate, I guess, in the wintertime, obviously cooling isn't an issue with these rigs. So, and space isn't an issue either. It's just not expensive to have sea cans full of mining units because land is so cheap. So maybe that kind of makes it an ideal location for crypto mining. But also I've heard some kind of speculation about with the oil downturn that some of the local oil companies might be diversifying into crypto mining as well on their land positions that they have. So going to be interesting to see what happens there.
But yeah, a few mining companies have diversified into it. I remember there was a company I bought a while back went on the TSX venture called Hive Blockchain, which I made quite a bit of money off of, but that was during the boom. Now it's I don't know where it is now. I sold it a while back, but companies are diversifying into this space. And there was the Long Blockchain company, which is an iced tea company that somehow was integrating blockchain, and their stock shot up three times or like threefold in a couple days. So or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how smaller businesses and companies start using blockchain. I think it's going to be really gimmicky at first and kind of awkward before it becomes sort of smooth and easily, transactable.
I want to share with you guys something. I'll use the screen share function here for a minute. Play with that, show you what I'm talking about. See if this works. Okay. Yeah. So can you guys see this?
Yep.
So you see, where is it? Right.
Yeah, Medicine Hat.
Oh shit.
Is where you're building a mining facility.
I'm gonna have to mute you so we can see the screen. Sorry. Every time somebody talks, it switches. So Hut 8, they had 17 black boxes representing 18.7 megawatts in Drumheller, Alberta. And now I think they doubled it or something. And your Medicine Hat, whatever this says. So yeah, but I guess I just looked it up. They are based out of Toronto, their main office. But yeah, they did partner with what's it called? That company, that large company that you mentioned.
Bitfury?
Yeah, Bitfury, I think.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. So I knew about the Drumheller operation. That's a big mining operation, but I knew that Hut 8, or I thought they weren't based out of Alberta.
Yeah, I think they're based out of Toronto.
Yeah, that makes sense. I actually reached out to them. I reached out to them to see if maybe someone from their company wanted to come to a mining presentation in Red Deer. They haven't gotten back to us yet, but it'd be cool if they did.
Yeah, man. Just
hopefully they're watching right now. Come on down.
Hut 8. Let's do it. Red Deer.
Yeah, there's two people watching. It could easily be one of those two.
How do you see how many people are watching?
Yeah, there's the guy from Hut 8, and then the other one is Frank's mom.
Oh wait, I think Jack's on the chat. I just noticed all these comments. What are you talking about? I think he wants to talk about ETH. Jack, we can't see your comments, man. Hold on. Text us. Okay. I think he wants to talk about EOS.
Uh-oh. Paul and I had a very heated.
Oh yes, yeah, we had a very heated discussion about that.
Oh dear.
So yeah, let's talk about, obviously we want to increase adoption and make it better and make it easier for people to participate in this space by building up more infrastructure, getting other people, allowing other people to get involved easier without having a more in-depth understanding about security and hardware wallets, and perhaps like there's a variety of things that we can do. We can talk about custodial services, where there's a financial institution which takes responsibility for the funds just as a bank account would, instead of being your own bank, which, let's face it, we are going to have eventually. But yeah, and one of the projects, which is aiming to increase, increase usability and draw more people into the space is EOS. They're doing a variety of things, which to many people in the crypto space would be considered a no-no, should you say? Everything, user-friendly addresses to freezing accounts to potentially taking funds away from those accounts taking of account if it's dormant for a while. Things that are normally pretty fundamental in this space, and EOS is.
Could we maybe just take one of your points there and talk about that a little bit? Because I think this big issue is, what are your guys' thoughts on reversibility? Because I think that crypto is still fairly nascent, and the idea of reversibility, I think, scares people, because one of the main reasons why they want to use blockchain in the first place is that transactions are permanent. So this idea that you can reverse a transaction on the blockchain and basically take someone's coins away from them.
Were you like,
Go first.
reversibility?
So my take on it is we need to take baby steps. So we've got the technical people who understand addresses, two-factor authentication, multi-sig wallets, and then you'll get the not so technical people, which is the majority of the general pop, who will want something similar to what they have, but they also see the benefits. So it's like a step up. And as time goes on, you iteratively introduce them to the greater benefits. So I wouldn't trust my mom to go into an exchange or create a wallet, guide her keys, and not lose them, forget what her password was, and think that she could get it back. I mean, one of the things when people ask me about crypto at work and we get them set up on a basic wallet, let's say Jax, for instance, first thing I tell them, make sure you write down your seed phrase. They're like, what's that? Why do I need to write it down? So they go away, they buy a bit of crypto, put it in their wallet, and then you ask them a few days later, did you write down your seed phrase? And they're like, no.
Hold up. It's Ozzy. What's up?
Seed phrases.
So, Ozzy, we're just rewinding back to our conversation we had days ago about EOS. Ozzy was in the middle of it. So again, I always kind of use my mom as for any tech. I was like, you can't figure out how to use this, then I can't see many people of her age or generation or outside of a more tech savvy nature being able to navigate their way around this. I mean, like I said, crypto isn't as big as we think it is. And part of why it's not is because it's complicated and it's scary.
I have to tell people.
Oh, sorry. What chat? Well, so many people in the chat now. It's getting kind of crazy.
Oh, okay.
So two things. I don't know. I don't think everyone's met Ozzy except for probably Eli. So Eli, Ozzy.
Eli.
Hello.
Putting a face to the name. I see you all the time in the chat rooms. Hi.
Yeah, and also, do these glasses make me look like Harry Potter? A little bit.
You wish.
Harry Potter. Yeah.
Just need a one.
I can reverse the transactions with my magic. Never mind. I can't do Harry. Eli was asking you, like, so we're responding to this idea, like, of reversibility in, crypto transactions, because, but so I'll just like add my thoughts to that because, I mean, I don't think there's a cost to it, right? So if you use your credit card, sure, you can go make a complaint, and a bank or a company can reverse the transaction, for like to protect you from fraud, but there's a cost to that, right? So you're if that gets built into crypto some way, there's going to be a cost to it too, and I don't really want to. I don't want to. Maybe you can opt into it or something, get insurance. Basically, it's insurance in my mind. So I guess if you want to be your own bank, you gotta kind of be prepared for that.
Just to build on that, one thing that we often assume is that one should all, but there's multiple blockchains with different philosophies and different ideologies. Like Vitalik believes everything should be hard forked, and that's the way Ethereum wants to approach changes to the code or improvements in security. Whereas if you were to ask a core developer, they would say hard fork should be something you do at last resort to fix a critical bug. Now, with EOS or some of these other blockchains, they offer something that some people might find appealing, like, okay, I can reverse my transactions. I'd rather go into this because I don't trust myself to keep my password private or not get scammed or whatever. And those that don't agree with that, you can simply just find another blockchain that meets your demands. So it's not like
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Frank on this as well.
Exactly. I don't think we're anywhere near as a civilization to being quote unquote trustless. I think I think we have to trust each other as humans to some extent. I mean, if you want the trustless currency, like you say, you've got the option of Bitcoin, which is kind of the base layer, if you will, of the whole economy. But I think you're totally right. I think we're going to migrate maybe to other chains where they're a little bit more user friendly, even if we lose some of that trustless factor. Because
what about it just being a service? Like you can have a trustless system, and then somebody like a wallet provider, for example, can provide that as a service. Obviously, there would be a fee, right? So it could be a layer or a service built on top of Bitcoin. But I'm glad you mentioned that too, because I'd like to ask you guys really quickly, like, what do you think Bitcoin is at its most basic, boiled down level? I'd love what you guys can answer.
Trustless consensus. Trustless consensus. I think that's what it really is.
Okay. What about? So I guess we'll go with Ozzy, or we'll go with Paul.
I think Bitcoin is trustless consensus, which has a great emphasis on trying to be as decentralized as possible, even if it means sacrificing other things.
Okay, so anyone else, just jump in, you guys.
I'd say it's like the purest form of digital currency we currently have.
I'm kind of, so building on top of like what Paul and Eli say, I actually also agree with Frank when you say like, what do you think it is at its core? I think it's just a store of value. I think it's digital currency. It's money or on the blockchain. Like,
yeah.
So,
okay.
I think a lot of blockchains are trying to do everything to everyone, whereas Bitcoin, maybe Litecoin as well, they're just like, we're currency.
Yeah. So I think
we do.
I think most people either say two things, right? They'll say it's a store of value like digital gold, or they'll say it's some kind of trust like mechanism. But like Eli did this quick video for the channel like a week ago. We did a chat, and because he did a presentation about protocols, like about how all of these new coins and tokens and cryptocurrencies are basically protocols. And we use a bunch of these different protocols in our everyday life that we don't even think about. There's a bunch of them that we went over in the video, and Eli's better at explaining them than me. But I think that Bitcoin is actually just like the trust layer of the internet. I think I've heard a few people like Andreas Antonopoulos say that, and like it's not even a digital source or a digital gold. It's a trust protocol. It's a decentralized trust protocol. So it's the trust layer of the internet kind of thing. And I think that whatever all these other things you want to do can just be built upon it in the future. As far as like, well, we'll see what happens, right? But so far, I don't think there's any other better trust mechanism in the world that I know of.
Can you clarify? Do you think that's Bitcoin or do you think that's blockchain? Because, like, I think those are two separate.
Definitely not blockchain.
Thing.
I mean,
well,
Well, go ahead.
Well, just because you're saying it's decentralized, it's all these things. Like, I mean, Bitcoin itself just does that one thing. It's a store of value almost. Like do much else. So I missed something. You're kind of cutting out. So
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know before, like they used to use the uppercase B or lowercase b to describe whether they were talking about the protocol or the trust layer, as you say, or lowercase b to represent the Bitcoin, the currency. So I
Yeah.
think it's a bit of both. And as time went on, I think blockchain became the word to kind of like distinguish, because talking a conversation, you wouldn't say uppercase Bitcoin or going to lowercase b Bitcoin. You would say blockchain just to.
When we started this conversation, I made a joke about, like, oh, we're in it for the tech, and we were talking about whether we'd be interested in this if it didn't have a value. And I mean, obviously, there's a value for Bitcoin, and you can store value in it because it has, like, because it's a system of trust. Like, people value having a trust protocol, basically, and also obviously there's a speculative value as well. But I think the real value comes when we build other things on top of it that are by human beings, like in a large scale, for the mainstream, and we no longer have to rely on centralized, forces, I guess, just like governments or whatever they are.
Has anybody here seen Andreas Antonopoulos' video on they want to call it blockchain, not Bitcoin, where he talks about that? Sort of how.
I'm sure I have, yeah.
What do you guys think about that? Because I kind of agree with him. I don't think that we can completely separate the underlying technology from Bitcoin as it was. Like, to me, that's kind of what started it all. Okay. I mean, the thing is, like, to me, is like the way that I look at it is like, I don't see it as a one-way value transfer system where, blockchain gives these other, Bitcoin gives these other blockchains value, or those other blockchains give Bitcoin value. I think that for those other blockchains to really exist as they are, I think that initial base layer of Bitcoin is necessary. So I can't completely separate Bitcoin at this point from the other blockchains. I think that they give each other value, and they need each other.
I mean, I was opposed to the whole Bitcoin Cash hard fork because it was an untested procedure, and Bitcoin is everyone thinks of the cryptocurrency. It's like the poster child of cryptocurrency. If that went wrong in any way, you could kiss goodbye to most other cryptos. So it basically is like the reserve currency. If it crashes or something major happens, if it's compromised, the protocol, the trust that's been built up over the years has been because of Bitcoin's public persona, that it's secure. Most people don't even know about hacks that have happened to other blockchains or other protocols. But if it was to happen to Bitcoin, you would see that public sentiment would go way down. Like, compared to what we're seeing now, which is price action, I think everything that we've worked for all these years would be undone just by a hack to the Bitcoin protocol.
I think that's only true right now. I think and I hope in the future it's not, just because like right now Bitcoin is like first market. It's the one everyone knows about. When I talk to people now about how, I'm in love with blockchain and cryptocurrency, and they're like, what is that? And I was like, Bitcoin. And they're like, oh, that. So it's like, it is what everyone knows right now. But I think everything is connected to Bitcoin. Like, you see it when it drops, the market drops. When it goes up, the market goes up. But I think that's right now. But once mass adoption happens, and then we start getting all these like new protocols, I guess, right? Like, once those actually start getting used on a day-to-day basis in everyone's lives, like, they'll start having their own value that Bitcoin won't really be a part of.
Right.
So I think Bitcoin will be around for a really long time, but I think, like, and I'm just throwing a number out there, like maybe in 20 years or something, it'll pitter, just because technology and the world is growing so fast and a lot. But
I totally agree. I see Bitcoin as the reserve currency of the crypto space, which is kind of, to me, like the next frontier of the financial system. I just see this whole space just blowing up, and without Bitcoin, I don't think these smaller ecosystems could really hold together.
do you think that's forever though? Like, do you think it's Bitcoin now and forever, or is it Bitcoin now and then, because like they need that one big thing to hold on to?
I don't think anybody knows the answer to that.
Right, you never know. But I think that
Yeah.
like in terms of like trying to guess what the natural progression of this is
I don't
going
know,
to be, I think that's the case. Like, sorry.
Well, there was that. Did you guys see that thing about the people thought? Sorry, I went rock climbing this week. You're probably like, what's wrong with him? I was climbing out in Squamish and I got all scratched up on some rocks. But there was like this thing on Twitter. Everybody was talking about this guy, this hash of like what are the first block of Bitcoin, and it repeated itself, and the chances of that happening are like 1 in, like it could never happen, like unless there was either like some kind of AI that traveled from the future, or I don't know, like something crazy.
It was one of the weirdest conspiracy theories
Oh no.
some crazy ones, but that was like right up there.
I'm pretty sure aliens are responsible.
Oh my god.
Dude, that's Satoshi Nakamoto is an AI chatbot from the future, time travel.
Yeah, I'm not. It could be possible, but to bring it back, I think that I guess the example I wanted to use was right now, U.S. dollar, like the USD is kind of what we could. Sorry, I'm losing words, but it's kind of like the Bitcoin. It is the Bitcoin, or Bitcoin is the USD of digital currency, but it won't be forever.
500 years, 500 years tops.
Right, but I mean, I'd like to think people in the space of cryptocurrency are smarter or more intelligent and move faster with
Well,
the
so I would suggest something like unless you guys can tell me if there's a more decentralized trustless system for transferring value, or a system of trust, a more decentralized system of trust, I'd love to hear about it. But like,
I think the reason why Bitcoin has continues to be the market leader and everything kind of depends on it is because it's the most decentralized. No other project is this decentralized. Many claim to be, but they're not. They're not this decentralized, and it's also survived the most number of attacks over the years and such. Now, other projects, as they get older, they can be put under the same scrutiny in terms of how susceptible they are to types of attack. But is there any other project out there that is, or I guess I should say, because I don't believe there is, but is there any other project that is going to be just as decentralized as Bitcoin, or even more? And a separate question is decentralization to this degree even that important?
Yes, I think so for the base layer. I think for Bitcoin, it's imperative that it's decentralized, and I think it's also imperative that it's trustless. So we get back to that idea of reversibility.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Global reserve.
Check it out.
May randomly start talking about Bitcoin. For a second, I only saw the BIT, and I thought it was gonna say bitches. I was like, May randomly start talking about bitches. I was like, all right, are we not swearing on this?
Are you a Bitcoin evangelist, Dan? You're an evangelist.
Oh, you guys want to see something? Look, I'm a certified Bitcoin professional, like for reals.
What is that?
Yeah, it's a real certificate. I'm a professional, Bitcoin professional.
Oh wow, where do you take that exam?
It's actually, it seems kind of cheesy, but it's actually kind of interesting. It's called the Cryptocurrency Certificate Consortium. It sounds kind of janky, but I looked up, and it's ran by Vitalik, Andreas Antonopoulos, and a bunch of other really well-respected people. You basically pay $100 a Bitcoin and $30 a Bitcoin for the test, and then I just challenged it, and there's another one for programmers too. So I just want to see if I could pass it. So, and then they put your certificate on the blockchain so you can check it out.
Oh, nice.
Maybe post the details
Oh yeah, I'll put it on the
channel and
notes.
take a look.
Oh, we lost Ozzy at border. It's too nerdy. She's like, yeah, I'm out.
Are there going to be? So do you guys think there's going to be any other projects that will get to the level? Bitcoin is at?
I wanted to actually touch on that. Elastos. I think. Do you guys know about what merge mining is?
Yeah, I think Litecoin does it with 2 or 3 other coins or so. It does it with Vertcoin and another coin that merge mines with Litecoin because the hashing rate wasn't.
Vertcoin is a hard fork of
Vert? V-E-R-T? Yeah, but they merged it, V-E-R-T.
Yeah, Vertcoin is completely separate from Litecoin. It was a hard fork.
But they merge mine with Litecoin.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so this idea of merge mining is really interesting. And as far as I know, I think, I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think that Elastos has some kind of, I don't know if it's a formal agreement, at least a tacit agreement or plan with Bitcoin Core Foundation to merge mine Elastos with Bitcoin. So that would decentralize Elastos immediately.
That's how Rootstock is done, right? Basically.
Okay.
Modo and Qtum may also be using something similar, or leveraging the security of the Bitcoin blockchain.
Yeah. So this guy Rong Chen, he used to work for Microsoft. He has like 20 years experience programming operating systems for Microsoft, and he's one of the premier guys on operating systems in China. And he is heading up the Elastos operation. And what they want to do is build an operating system for the internet that all these blockchains can run on as side chains. So it's a really interesting project. Anyways, I'll shut up about Elastos.
I mean, feel free to, if you have like links and stuff, to throw it in our chat later.
Yeah, and also maybe we could do a separate video, like a presentation on Elastos or something together.
Yeah, I know a little bit about it, but it'd be nice to learn more. Oh, he just left.
We lost Eli. Oh, I'm gonna give a shout out to Strathcona Brewing in Vancouver.
You guys
They
are
didn't
both.
sponsor us, but maybe they will now. It's good.
Let's get Red Truck.
Ozzy, so I reckon Bitcoin will be what's equivalent to reserve currency. It'll be the most visible. I think the only one that's actually trying to be like a pure store of value or value transfer. Others are trying to incorporate other functionality. And I think those will work, but they'll work more behind the scenes because you can be on a website, you can be on CryptoKitties and not know that it's being run on an Ethereum blockchain.
Wow, you guys, this is Frank shouting out Bitcoin, not Ethereum Classic. That deserves the air horn.
So in that respect, I think Bitcoin will always be at the forefront because it's got that market, the store of value, the reserve currency, the transfer of value, whereas the others are trying to do stuff that you don't necessarily need to know what you're running. Like looking at this website right now, right? And we're streaming this video. Was it using JavaScript? Is it using whatever? We're just like, oh, we're just on the internet. We're not arguing over whether JavaScript is the backbone or overtaking Python or whatever. We're just using it. Whereas the internet is like, it's ubiquitous, right? We know we're on the internet, but we're not.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, man. And when I think about that concept, it really blows my mind because I think like, imagine if you could have bought a token of the internet. Like there's a billion internet tokens when the internet was created. And then there was a bunch of random people in the, I guess the 70s or whatever. I don't even know when it would have been. And you could just hold a piece of this internet. What's the value of the internet?
Right.
So
the internet uses various protocols, but still refer to it as the internet. Kind of like how the whole crypto space will use various protocols here and there, and we won't really even know which one we're using at any given time. It'll just all be running and interoperable. And I think companies that are doing the groundwork right now to get the interoperability going, those are the ones that I think will get that mass adoption going. The ones that bridge the gaps that we don't have to.
Well, that's a good question, man. So what are the most, if you pick your two favorite like interoperability sort of projects or tokens, and we'll just go around in a, like I'll start first. I think Icon and like Polkadot are probably the two that I would quickly. I didn't think about it very long.
Yeah, like what they're trying to do there, and they're not limiting themselves to one blockchain. And Icon's working with I think Aeon and a few other companies to do the blockchain interoperability project. So again, they're collaborating to try and bring this interoperability. Oh, I can't even say the word right now. Interoperability between blockchains and help them scale. I recently heard this project called Fusion.
Oh yeah,
it would be like a blockchain of private keys to other blockchains.
I might hold some Fusion since the ICO.
Because it's ambitious, but at the same time, if it's not secure, you've got a blockchain of everyone's private keys. I don't know. I need to dig into it more, but it seems like a ticking time bomb unless they get their act together and get it right first time. I mean, right now, it's hard for new projects to come out and not be under so much scrutiny or be under constant attack.
So what are some other options? I mean, you can just take it right back to, like, a lot of people just go right back to Bitcoin and say it's not necessary, yeah. or they can function via Bitcoin like Rootstock or something else.
Or you can go, well, I was saying the EOS having some safety nets in place just till things smooth out. And I also learned this week that in the early days of Ethereum, Vitalik had like a means of just stopping the blockchain if you needed to. And again, right now, if you was to do that now, we would all be like, what the hell is this? It's so centralized. But it was something that maybe might have been needed. And it was like a safety net just to get the ball rolling and get the blockchain secure enough that we could be like, okay, we don't need this anymore. And then it's removed from the protocol.
I think that's why community is so important, is because, you know, these people who are in control of these protocols, well, in control, have to be accountable to somebody. And if the community is really strong, I think they're kind of under pressure to do the right thing. So maybe that's kind of what helped Ethereum early on kind of, you know, stay alive. Because like you said, I mean, if he just, you know, screwed everybody over in the community because he had the power to, I think Ethereum could have died early on as a project.
Right. The irony of it is, I think they removed that feature like weeks before the hack happened. They could have like stopped it, just paused it just to like undo the hack.
Yeah.
I think. What do you guys think about Dan Larimer from EOS? Is he going to be as strong as Vitalik?
He's very more wealthy than Vitalik.
In what way?
Well, you know, he did Steemit and EOS, which have raised, you know, a lot more money, and, you know, obviously EOS has $4 billion worth of funds, the vast majority of which they're not going to use. So, you know, yeah, he has, yeah.
So, yeah, I don't even know what I'm going with this. Those funds actually aren't for the building of EOS. I think they're for like venture for dApps, right?
Yes.
One of the dApps won't have to do ICOs. You come with a proposal, they give you the money, then you airdrop your tokens rather than, because you don't need to generate an ICO and keep some for yourself. You have the funding ahead of time, and then you can just airdrop the tokens and get that circulating supply in place.
But it's still a venture capital pool. Like EOS is not going to be giving away free money to help with development of dApps. They're still going to do it to try and get a return on investment. So if people still help, you know, if people owned a portion of that $4 billion, that would be more understandable. But essentially, they've just gotten a free pool of money, which they're going to try to grow even more. Would that be fair?
In a way, so let's say I bought 100 EOS tokens. I've kind of contributed money then to that pool of venture capital, and now every DApp that's launched, I will get 100 tokens of that coin. So it's kind of like I'm getting my return on my investment in the form of the token. So if there's 100 projects launch, I will get my equivalent of EOS tokens in whatever project launches. So the investor who participated in the initial ICO does in a way get something back, as do Block One or whoever else is funding the company.
Yeah.
Again, it's early days. I don't know how it's going to pan out. It's nice that it's a different approach to being an ICO centric because there is some accountability to the DApp developers. It's not going to be easy as here's my white paper, give me the money.
Well, you know, going back to what we were talking about earlier about like reversibility and usability. To me, it seems like EOS. Like, I guess I'm probably the the odd person in the group who doesn't like it, but it seems to me like in many ways, they're acting like a bank, being able to reverse transactions and such, which I do think is necessary in the space. I don't like it, but I think it is. There's definitely a niche for that. But given the quality of where they're at, that they just launched, this mainnet, which still has a plethora of bugs. I really don't think they're worthy of the value that they currently have attached to them. They've just made like a lot of promises, frankly, many of which they have failed to live up to. So that's kind of my issue, even if it is a niche that I believe is ultimately necessary.
I agree with you there to a certain extent. There are things you have to bear in mind, though. Is they didn't say they were aiming to get 400, whatever, $4 billion or whatever.
Yeah.
Vitalik was to say, I'm doing Ethereum 2.0 and I'm going to do a year-long ICO. The amount he raised with that just from his reputation alone would eclipse that. So part of it was just the hype, the name associated with the project. So he had a proven track record, and I think that made people buy into the project, expecting an even bigger project to what he's done before. So he had that reputation to back him. Secondly, right now, launching any blockchain in the public eye, you're going to get ripped to shreds. Nothing is good enough. Like Cardano is a great project.
So
we'll criticize them for taking too long, but they're doing the opposite of what Dan Larimer is doing. They want to make sure they've written peer-reviewed papers, spent like 8 months to a year, getting all the best minds in the space to peer review the project, audit the code, whatever. And then people say, well, they don't have a project to show for it. They are, but they're going the slow and steady route. Now people are impatient because they want the right now.
This is good because this is
what good projects do is they don't set deadlines. Hey, you're gonna have and this is like Casper was supposed to be out a while ago. If you're talking promise date, good projects they don't promise you don't make promises as to when something's gonna be ready. When is Lightning gonna be completely safe to use? When are we gonna have Casper? And these kinds of things. And I like Cardano a lot more for that reason, because it's ready when it's ready. Development, there's always delays. It's better to not make a promise than just take code from other sources, or God forbid you do what Tron's doing and just steals code from other projects.
Where's Jack?
Yeah, so it's better to just take your time, develop something properly, and sure, you might EOS and Tron, they might do better at marketing their stuff, and in bull markets, their coins can do even better, but ultimately, if it's not built with sound principles from the beginning, something bad is probably eventually going to happen.
So does that
I'm not
mean
sure. I'm not sure that we know that this is going to work with the Casper validators. Like, are people really going to want to validate the transactions? Do we know that yet?
I'm
Is
going
it
to
a
get my
proven
ban
system?
hammer out, Eli.
A lot of miners are going to be pissed off. That I know for sure.
Yeah, and EOS strikes me as a platform that's trying to do very quickly what Ethereum has been working on for already a couple of years. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of some of these other scaling solutions that are ripping off earlier scaling solutions. Like, are you all familiar with Raiden Network? That's sort of the Ethereum's version of Lightning Network.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it was the first one to come out, and they've been working on this problem for like 3 years now. And they have some of the best minds working on this. You know, some of the people that were on the original Ethereum team are working on this. And then just in the last 6 months, you see all these other projects that are promising 100 times as many transactions per second as what Raiden can do. And I'm just a little bit skeptical. I want to see it work first.
So those ones they probably can, but they will sacrifice security in order of performance or decentralization. And that's
Or
basically
both, yeah.
it is like, okay, we'll throw decentralization to the wayside in order to get performance. And it kind of works both ways. I mean, I'm quite what I like about EOS is I'm curious to see what people can do with blockchain when they're not held back by transaction speed. It's like the early days of the internet when you had dial-up modems. There was only so much you can like do in terms of apps or like websites, web content.
Okay, so
Broadband internet became available.
Frank, can I just want to, because I think we've gone to like 3 different topics here, which is awesome, and this has been a really cool discussion. But so like I'm gonna pull out the ban hammer. This is my ban hammer.
All right, I'll shut up.
I have the no, I'm not telling you to shut up. It's just like because I want to keep it cohesive, right? And so we started with there was 3 things here. So we talked about interoperability, and so I wanted to get some. I think 1 or 2 of you answered what are sort of like your top 2 interest projects that are kind of trying to do this. It's a similar problem to scaling, right? Because if you have interoperability in a way, that's a form of scaling in a sense, perhaps. But so why don't we do that? Why don't we all kind of answer that? Why don't we all answer what do you think is going to happen with the scaling problem right now in the next while? And there was, what else did we touch on? Am I missing something?
Well, I want to touch on what Paul talked about because I do agree. Like to do something right, you can't make these promises necessarily and just always deliver. But I do think obviously accountability is necessary. So just giving like a rough estimated timelines, like would Paul, do you think saying something like will be released at a certain quarter, is that too much, or are you thinking more like it'll be released
No,
year,
the way developers work is, there's stuff that's going on. You can look at GitHub or however they're doing they're doing this, but you can check what's going on yourself, and you don't really know what type of problems that you're going to encounter, frankly, because what a lot of the work, like if it was a simple way of developing the solution, this stuff would not take so long to develop. What takes a lot of time is ensuring that no one can exploit it. That's what 95% of the resources go to. How like people think in ways, how can this fail? And ultimately you have to explore so many different avenues, and it's hard to give a timeline for that.
I want to show you guys something. It's kind of on the same vein of thought here. It's kind of another answer to your question, Ozzy. And I thought it was something I came across recently in regards to timelines. So I'm just going to quickly ban hammer everybody and then screen share this 1 second. So here it is. So this is also, I'm sure you guys are pretty familiar with this. This is Singularity Net. I guess not. Can you guys hear me? Okay, cool, thanks. So this is the way that they've done their roadmap right now. And like you can see, I'm just gonna move this chat window. They've got, instead of having a date, they just got a progress bar. and which is really cool because they know that it's hard. You can't just say exactly like, oh, we're going to be ready by September, so buy your tokens now, and then you can sell them in August, and like it's all speculative. Like you don't so they're kind of giving broad general timelines, and not just for like they have the roadmap. I think it's broken down into different so they've got a platform roadmap, services roadmap, and research initiatives, which is I think it's a really nice way to do it. And they talk very, I guess, just honestly about the way that it can happen, and that it's not just going to be, exactly in a specific timeline for all the speculators to jump on. So I appreciate that about this platform.
Yeah, the problem I think a lot of developers do, especially going through ICO model, is funding, because ICO you're funding, and people then want hype or set dates to try and keep the price high, and you kind of need to maintain hype around your project. So it can be difficult for companies to try and work at their own pace, because humans by nature, we get bored easily. And crypto space in general, like a week is like a year. People just want to see price action, they want news, they want hype, they want to just have their coins in the public spotlight. So
Yeah.
it's a good situation to be in. I think if a lot more currencies or projects used a treasury model, kind of like how Dash was using. So you have milestones, you put your proposal forward, the community funds you based on whether they believe in your project. And for each milestone you hit, you kind of get funds released. You're incentivized to carry on doing your work and try and meet the deadlines, but show that you are doing something. And B, you can't just run off with the money because it's not given to you all in one lump sum. And the project will be funded as long as you keep at it. You're showing that you're writing code, you're committing it to GitHub or wherever where people can see that you're actually doing the work. So I think that's a more sustainable model. The ICO model, it does allow everyday person to invest, but again, the project is dependent on hype.
What do you guys think about starting a coin for our group? And so that could be a way to fund to turn this group into a DAO, like a decentralized organization, and so that maybe even you don't have to pay for attendance, but if you can earn tokens like by hosting meetups or attending meetups or something like that. What do you guys think about that?
That'd be awesome, but I think there's a lot of liability issues with that.
And what functional value would the token have? Because I don't see utility. No.
Yeah. We will tear this ICO apart.
Actually, what I wanted to talk about, and I haven't mentioned this yet. There's a new fundraising model out there. It's come out very recently as an alternative to an ICO, and it's called an ILP, Initial Loan Procurement. I can put a link in the chat here. Just a second. This one has some sort of affiliation with a company called BlockHive. They're not the first to invent that, and I don't want to focus on Block.
Wait a second. I just want to say, like, if anybody watches this, that link is not in the public chat. So I'll try to add that right now.
Okay. Yeah. But have you guys heard of what ILP is, and if so, do you guys have any thoughts? You're raising money for you basically getting a loan in a sense, but it has a lot of similarities to an ICO as well. Has anyone heard of an ILP before?
First time I've heard of it. Could you just walk us through how it works? Like, let's say I have a project and I want to get a loan through an ILP. How would I go about that?
I have to look into it more myself. I was hoping someone else would be able to tell me a bit more about it. But yeah, it's a more secure way of. I think we'll have to discuss this again at a later time once we know a bit more about it. But it's something that I think other people should look into. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of discussion about it yet, but it seems quite interesting to me.
So
Well, and then there's also going to be after the ICO. I don't know if they'll still be classified as ICOs, but if any of these, if the security token business takes off, are we going to have security token ICOs? How does that work?
Hmm.
You know, with like Polymath and stuff.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, a security token ICO is frankly probably not all that different from it's going to be just as much work as an IPO. With the prospectus and getting accredited investors, you might as well just probably do to an IPO on a smaller exchange, not necessarily the TSX, but the Venture or the CNSX if you're in Canada. But there's a lot of smaller exchanges where you can do that kind of stuff.
Side will be
Doubts about whether Polymath will actually work. It's not an exchange. It's simply a protocol which can be implemented. They're not even there yet, but it's just a protocol that can be implemented to help facilitate.
I've heard some stuff like that. That Polymath, for example, when they talk about what they're building, they only talk about KYC because we all know what KYC is and stuff, right? But then, I don't know. Some people think it's way overhyped. I'm not sure personally.
The videos I've watched on Polymath seems like they're waiting for T0. T0, there's so many. Yeah, T0.
Yeah, that's Patrick Burns' operation. Yeah.
Because that'll be the exchange for securities tokens, and then they can then be traded on that platform.
Yeah, but have you heard about these other people are building?
I just want to say something, Dan, before we continue. Like that thing that Frank said about T0, it's not. They don't have an exclusive partnership with T0. T0 would just be one of the exchanges that they would trade on. They've already started a partnership with another exchange recently that's opening, which would be a security token exchange.
Right.
So I'm not sure that they have like an exclusive relationship. There could be many exchanges.
Right.
So I don't know yet. It's still so new.
I think if you look closely, you'll find. I mean, so speaking of guys that are doing, there's this company called Coral.io, which is an interesting company out of Toronto, and they're kind of providing like loans, kind of like what Paul talked about, to companies or startups that might be looking for VC financing, but they don't want to go down that road because it's prohibitive for a number of reasons. And they're kind of using a similar concept to, it's somewhere in the middle between like VC and getting a loan. And I think it is a loan actually. But anyways, I think they borrowed their, they're going to have a token as well. It'll be a security token. And I think they got help creating that the back end from Polymath. But I mean, I did ask Polymath, one of the guys, they beamed one of the guys from Polymath into CoinFest in February, I think it was. And, I asked him directly, and his to give us a simple like layman's answer about what they're doing at the end, just to kind of summarize. And he said, well, basically, yeah, we're doing security tokens, and we'll partner with like T0, for example, and then there's a couple other people doing something like this. But then I think sometimes I've heard people say if you dig into it, it's actually, there's only just like a protocol that you could easily just make like a new Ethereum, like, you see these non-fungible tokens or something like that, like a new type of Ethereum token where you could just build all this KYC and everything right into the protocol level, and then any exchange can just accept it, and you don't have to. So I don't know. We'll see what the technology does. You know how it goes. Like every 6 months, there's a whole new paradigm shift.
Yeah, there's this exchange that's just opening. I wish I could do screen share, but I can't. But I could give you. I put the link in the chat, in the public chat. But it's called the Open Finance Network. And it says tokenizing the financial world, live platform launching June 28th. So this will be a security token exchange. Wow. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what comes out of that.
Well, I haven't thought this through yet, but when you guys were talking about it earlier, when Paul was saying that if you need credited investors, then you may as well do like an IPO or go through the same process as an IPO. I mean, at some point, like what's stopping you from sort of can you do an IPO and also do an ICO?
I think that would just end up being a security token, right? Because with ICO, you're given a token in return for investment.
Yeah. But could you not? So
So
within,
the way I read your question was, could you allocate a portion of the shares to an ICO and a portion of the shares to traditional, like TSX? Is that what you're asking?
kind of, yeah. Or like I understand that with an ICO you're almost essentially like buying a digital share, but could you not still do that through an IPO? Maybe I just don't understand.
I don't see why you couldn't do both.
Typically, well, first of all, typically when you're buying tokens, there's no equity value linked to that. There's exceptions, but whereas when you have an IPO, you're directly buying equity in the company, and also when a company does a listing, particularly in the case of larger companies, they might be listed on multiple exchanges, and they might be listed in different markets as well. So they wouldn't necessarily, set 100% of their equity and put it on a single stock exchange. So yeah, you can list a portion of that, 30%, for example, is one of is a possibility. You don't have to list everything on a stock exchange. No.
I wonder too, though, like, so if there's a company that is considered securities and you have to go through all that process, and you need to be a accredited investor, like, you'd almost think, I guess, no, you can't make this assumption. I was going to say that the project would be, lack of a better term, legit. You know what I mean? Like, if all these accredited investors are putting their money into it, it must have more legitimacy, but that's not necessarily the case. People throw their money at anything. So
yeah, it's almost like the US gives themselves too much credit here. They think that, some people think that, if the SEC doesn't say that your business is investable, then it's just not investable. Like, there's not 7 billion other people in the world that could invest in your business.
I think it's just a distraction, man. Like, we're, to tell people that we're going to build this new world of technology on top of antiquated laws from 40 years ago about securities offerings and accredited investor status is, I feel like it's like hiding your head in the sand. People are waking up to these antiquated laws and rules. We're allowed to go blow our life savings in the casino, but we're not allowed. We don't have the responsibility level or the intelligence level to invest a few $1,000s into a new company because we don't have a couple $1 million in the bank. Give me a break. I don't think the young people are going to put up with this anymore. And I'm building protocols that align with these outdated ideas. I think is the wrong thinking. So I hope that we get past it, and I think I've seen some companies that are doing a few things in regards to that. They're allowing people to invest in ways that kind of work with these rules and regulations, but I don't think they require these kind of security tokens exchanges and stuff. They just require some updates to the ways that the governments around us think about things like this. But we'll see.
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, this is a really important topic because, this kind of gets to the heart of, your philosophical beliefs and all that kind of thing, and political beliefs with regards to crypto. But, I for one want to see some effort to accommodate regulation. I just don't see us going, completely opting out of the current system and somehow going to some crypto system where, we're not. We don't have to answer to our own governments.
But for example, there's I forget the name of the platform, so maybe I can add it to the notes. But there's a company called CoinVest, and in the states, in some states, there's a law that like regular United States investors are not allowed to buy into the ICO for CoinVest. But there was this platform that offered retail investors could buy it with fiat, with US dollars, up to $2,200. They made a max of $2,200 for the average person. So you could put $2,200, which some regulators or some somebody that's running some state legislator decided that was reasonable, and they raised $1.1 million in like a week, and they got a SAFT, a simple agreement for future tokens, via that company for their $2,200 or $2,300, and they were able to purchase into a crypto company, an ICO basically. And so, you know, there are people that are able to do this. So, you know, they're working with the system, and somebody somewhere actually listened to reason, and you know, and that's a reasonable thing. Like maybe a few $1,000s or something. You know, the average person, they can risk it. It's fine. You know.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think this accredited investor business is completely elitist. I would like to see, you know, people take personal responsibility for their finances and stop expecting the government to protect them. Like as if, you know, if you don't have $1 million in the bank, you can't make good decisions. I think that's ridiculous.
I kind of wish Dan was going to be here for this because I kind of agree with you, Eli. I mean, in terms of that, there needs to be some sort of regulation. Dan, you're back. Good. I wanted to.
I have to get going, guys. So, but I'll let you guys. It's an interesting
Respect.
topic,
But I just want. Are you going to go to DogeCon tonight? DogeCon, everybody. If you're
I will not be at DogeCon tonight now.
okay.
But yeah. Okay.
Thanks for joining us, Paul.
Bye.
See you guys. Bye.
Nice to meet you finally. Yeah.
Bye.
Yay, Frank is back too because I kind of wanted Frank here for this. But so what Eli was saying, I think Dan, you were here for it, was regulations and how they're like he wouldn't be so opposed to some. But I kind of feel the same way. And the thing is, I think people forget the definition or the philosophy or what government is supposed to be. Right now, the government isn't what the government should be. Somebody said something once to me that they're like, I can't wait till the people start making the decisions. But the whole point is, and they're like, people can make decisions instead of the government, which is so not right, because the government is supposed to be there to support or carry out the wishes of the people. So what they're doing right now isn't what they're supposed to be doing. But if we just fix the government, which is really hard, easier said than done, I understand that, but like the regulations are supposed to be there to support us, to help us. They're not supposed to be there to be bad, but there are bad regulations and rules, like you said, to support the elitists. Like, so I just want to clarify that it's not like us against the government necessarily. It is right now, but it shouldn't be.
Yeah, I like my personal belief on this is that you know, completely opting out of the current system isn't practical.
No.
You know, the way I see it is that new technologies that create increases in efficiency will eventually lead to the betterment of our current system, because it's just so bogged down with bureaucracy and paperwork and all these antiquated things that we have. So I think blockchain can clean a lot of that up and create accountability, which is one of the philosophical reasons why I got into it in the first place. Is, you know, we could see where our tax dollars are going.
Yeah.
But this all depends on your philosophy. I personally don't believe, I don't want to completely abolish the government. You know, some people do in the crypto space. I think it's rare, but to some extent, I agree with what some anarchists say, that I think that governments are a fiction because they're just created out of people like we are. So there's no such thing as like us and the government. You know, we are the government.
The government is supposed to be us. Like if you look kind of, because I took in philosophy in university, I took, what was it, Freedom and Chaos or something, and it talks about where government and authority comes from, and in a sense it's there to like kind of bring order to the chaos, but we place it on ourselves. Like if there was no law, if there was nothing, that's kind of where it comes up. But actually, I said this last meetup, Frank was there, but people latch on to the phrase disruptive revolution or disruptive technology, but disruptive doesn't mean burn the world down. It just
Exactly.
means
I think you nailed it there. It's an evolution. It's not a revolution. Totally.
Yeah, like people are like, oh, down with the government, down with this, down with that, and it's like down with the banks. And I'm like, the banks had their purpose, and I think it's still necessarily there. They just didn't do it well. They're just, you know, like the people running it.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally. There's something to be said, like, you know, it's this idea of them being accountable, and when people think that they should be accountable, right? But I mean, that's what a blockchain is. It's a ledger. It's a system of account. If they're truly accountable for all of the value that is extracted from society and put in the hands of a few departments or organizations or government officials. And there's a lot of human nature, unfortunately, it leads to this kind of they're very selfish. There's a reason why most CEOs of Fortune 500 companies are basically sociopaths. And I think it's largely the same with government. But I think this technology might give us a way to kind of flip that on its head, where people are truly accountable. So then the inescapable part of this accountability system will prevent those people from wanting to be there, because they won't want the spotlight, hopefully. That's a dream.
Do you mean like we should be worried about people carrying a sledgehammer over their shoulder?
Yeah, I mean, like, that's not so at all or psychotic. But yeah, no, transparency. Imagine if you put transparency or the taxes on the blockchain, and you see where that's going. Yeah. Almost like 80%.
Of hammers, everybody talks about this idea that you hear about this rumor that in the army they spend $500 on a hammer. And everybody goes, well, nothing we can do about it. They waste money. Where does it go? Some black ops department to start wars, to sell weapons. I mean, that's a real thing that happens all the time. And everybody just goes like, oh, well, can't do nothing about it. I mean, that's your money. A lot of your money and my money is taken and by corporations that build weapons and then kill people, innocent people, all the time.
Banks. You put them in the banks, and then it's no longer your money. So a lot of times, banks will invest your money wherever they see fit. And sometimes it's in places where the people are oppressed, or whatever, the regime there doesn't have the best interests of its people at heart. And while they're making X number of percent profit, you're just getting like a measly 1% per, but it's your money that's being invested by them.
Exactly. I think that's so much of what's partially driving this thing, Frank, is that, these millennials, they don't have enough money to be able to purchase a house, and they don't want to put their money in the stock market and get 1% returns. It's such a joke.
I got my report or whatever from last year. I opened a mutual fund TFSA, and they're like, oh, typically this goes up 8% a year, which when I started crypto, I was like, I think you're 8%. Okay. But I was like, okay, I'll keep, because it goes like, I think $50 every whatever few weeks or whatever. I got it back. I lost $4. I'm like, here's my 8%. Like, you promised a measly 8%, and you didn't even give that to me.
Yeah, I would love to see what they did with the money once you deposited it with them, how they invested it, and what profits they made. That's something like blockchain would do, is like it gives that accountability and it gives that transparency where, let's say a bank was to use a blockchain of some sort, the fact that investors could then see like, okay, I deposited my money, they are now taking it and investing it in XYZ. Is it right that I only got this amount profit back, interest back? And how much of that interest did they take before they gave it back to me, even though it was my money to begin with that made them?
Yeah. Somebody approached me. I met the CIT or CTO of some, but he said he guaranteed me, which I don't trust, but it was more of if you invest this much money with me, I guarantee you a 75% return or whatever, or like at least 50 or whatever. And I was like, okay, that doesn't make sense. But the thing is, I said, how can you even guarantee someone that? He said, because I'm confident that with, I don't know, let's say $1,000, I'll have like 1,000% return or something from that, So it was like, okay, at least you're telling me that you're going to make more money off my money, but you're only going to give me this chunk of it back, So you saying that you need transparency and how much like they're making off it and stuff like that. But at the same time, like if somebody promised you 75% back, you'd be like, oh, that's pretty good. But knowing that they were going to get like 500% back, and you were only going to get 75% of that. But at the same time, like something is better than nothing.
Are you sure you didn't say I'll at least give you half your money back later?
Pardon?
Are you sure you didn't say I'll give you 50% of it back?
He has like I think he had like a also you can't lose over 50% of your initial investment because then he could like do the whole
BitConnect.
Anything that says I guarantee us,
right. That's why I was like guarantee.
BitConnect in human form, guarantee you like 2% interest per day or something. They were promising.
Isn't that illegal to guarantee returns? I think that's illegal.
I think it was a guarantee if he made the money, but it wasn't like a
If he made
guarantee.
them, okay.
Yeah, like it's if I make say 100% of your deposit or like whatever you want to call it, your investment. If I make 100% of your investment, you get 75% of that, and then he just gets the other 25%. But if he made 500% of your investment, then you only still get 75% of that, and he gets the other.
That's like a hedge fund. That's basically a hedge fund. That's what
Yeah.
hedge funds.
So it's like he has a I don't know, financial background, but I was like, okay, I don't like that kind of sucks at the same time, but it's like the thing is I'd rather know that you have the potential to be making this much, that you're giving me at least this much back, rather than a bank though, right? Like I gave them my money. I bet you they made money off it, but yet I lost money.
It's kind of funny because I feel like crypto sort of advisors are the opposite of like traditional financial advisors, because I've known a couple who I won't name, but I remember one of them, like just an anecdote, a personal friend of mine who downgraded his car because he didn't want his clients to see how nice his car was. I think he's making too much money. But then I feel like in the crypto space, you know, if you're driving a Porsche, people are like, he's got some hot tips.
Right.
Yeah, if anyone has any hot tips, write them in the comments. I'll look at them later.
Like Jack when you need him.
Buy Bitcoin.
Yeah, Bitcoin.
And ETH Classic, right?
Of course.
Actually, I mean, they announced it's going to be added to Coinbase, so that should be interesting to see how that kind of goes.
Oh, the backlash on Twitter from the Ripple fanboys was intense.
Why? What happened? I didn't look at anything today. I napped.
Ripple were like adamant they were going to be listed on Coinbase. So when it was announced, it was just all hell broke loose.
Oh. Yeah. I don't know if you guys want to keep chatting, but you guys were talking about protocols earlier, and that was interesting to me.
Oh, no, I missed that bit.
No, you were. That's when I came in. And then I think Eli said something about how there's protocols that we use on a day-to-day, and you were talking about mass adoption, and
Hold on, guys. 1 second. I think we've got a visitor here popping in.
Oh wow!
Is from Crypto Squad here, but I don't see him. We can't hear you if you're there.
Doesn't his little box come up?
Yeah, I don't see his box.
Oh, weird. So maybe they didn't make it or their link didn't work. But anyway, we were gonna have one of the guys from CryptoSquad.io.
But my wife has a filthy mind. You guys are saying you couldn't see his box.
Oh my god!
What a giggling on the roof.
That's a requirement when you get into this room.
Yeah, we've also got some like cool guests lined up. I've talked to a couple of people that might show up, and I'm really stoked. Frank, you're an OG. You know about Say Vertex. Do you remember a YouTuber called DaVinci J15? You ever heard of that guy?
The YouTube stuff was like, I was late to the YouTube thing. It was.
Oh man, the YouTube thing was real back in the day. Like in like 2015, it was like just a few YouTubers talking about it, and they were like nobody was watching their videos. But man, the people that did, oh, they were glad they did, or sad that they didn't buy.
Wow. Yeah. Maybe like a year and a half that I've been on the YouTube thing.
Okay. Yeah, this guy Da Vinci, a really interesting guy. He was an old silver investor, which is kind of how I got into cryptos, as I was into investing in silver because I was losing faith in our monetary system. And he was talking about really early. He's got a computer background, and he was like, this Bitcoin thing, it's limited in supply. It's got all the qualities of good money. You guys should buy it. And nobody listened to him.
Oh, damn.
And anyways, I contacted him years later, just like the other day, and I said, "Hey, we've got a show. Do you want to come on?" And he's like, "Yeah." So I think a lot of people will recognize him. They'll be like, "Oh, that guy."
Cool.
I'm pretty stoked about that. Yeah, and also I contacted the CEO of Funfair. I don't know if you've heard of that coin, Jez San, and I don't know. He said he'd be happy to come on, so I'm really stoked about that.
Yeah, and maybe I can reach out to what's his name? Oh my god, I'm totally just at dinner with the guy the other night. It's like there's a few other people that we lined up. Maybe as
Andreas Antonopoulos.
Oh shit! Speaking of
buddy?
That little guy.
Hey, I'm here to make fun of Frank.
I don't know why the camera's not changing. I think I messed up some of the settings. I might have to do it myself. Is it so? Hold on a sec, guys. Is the camera changing automatically? So Eli, can you talk for a sec?
Yeah. So hello, how's it going? My name's Eli.
Hey, Eli. What's up, man? Joel.
Did the camera change from Joel's face for you guys?
Yeah.
Yep.
It did?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know what's wrong with my settings. Oh, I'm stuck.
How can you be in control of Joel's camera, Dan? What's going on here?
Yeah, this is.
I don't know what's wrong with my box.
Is this some kind of blockchain wizardry that we don't know about?
You guys continue. I'll figure this out on my own.
Is there like are you controlling the chat right now?
Yeah, Dan's controlling it.
I have no idea what's going on. As usual.
It's supposed to change when somebody talks. You could see the green box.
Mhm.
Okay. It's pretty cool though. I like it.
Are you okay? So are you in the main Telegram group, Joel?
I am, but I'm I'm not very active on the Telegram. I still like WhatsApp.
Okay, yeah. That's my favorite too.
Leader, Eli. He's also like an OG. I think Joel might be the OG-est OG. I'm not even totally sure. It's
No,
a tough
whatever, man. It's all good.
That's a close call. It's a close call.
Oh
Maybe.
yeah, okay, I know who this is now. Sorry, yeah, it's Joel.
Cool.
It took me
And
like
you're the Red Deer guy.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm a little slow, but I got it.
No, it's cool. So how's Red Deer? Let's start with that.
It's it's about 100,000 people, and it's in between Calgary and Edmonton. So,
I've been through there. It's nice. Yeah, it's cool.
yeah. It's good, man. The crypto scene is really popping out here. We have like a lot of mining companies,
Really?
a lot of libertarians. So wherever the libertarians go, there tends to be a lot of crypto people.
Right.
So yeah, there's a lot going on. Alberta's it's actually surprisingly is pretty happening in the space.
Well, it's close to Calgary, and that's a big place too, right? So cool, man.
Yeah.
So what I missed? Sorry to interrupt you guys. I feel bad for signing in here. Hey, Frank. Hey, put it back to Frank.
We were talking about EOS earlier. If you want.
The more you laugh, the more it's just going to go to your face. You know that.
No.
So ETH Classic on Coinbase soon. It's gonna moon. It's gonna be huge. What do you think, Joel?
Frank?
What do you think, Joel?
It's I don't know, man. Maybe. Who knows? EOS sucks though.
Oh god, I've been through this as well. Yep.
Were you watching the live feed or something? Because you've got all the sound bites. It sounds like pretty much.
Pretty much everything we've talked about, you've said the opposite. It's been like, I hate that.
No, okay. So EOS, I just learned that they can reject transactions based on I don't know if you guys talked about that, but that's pretty crazy, man. Like that's somebody has the power to reverse transactions along the way, right? So
Yeah, like there was 17 people or something like that. They just were like, we're gonna blacklist them just because no reason. We'll tell you later, and they didn't give an explanation. Or is that what it was?
I know there were a lot of hacks. Like a lot of people were reporting that Exodus wallet the EOS coins were just suddenly going missing, and were just getting sent to another address. So I'm not sure if these addresses are the ones that they believe are the culprits. So one of the things that EOS does offer is like you can challenge them, like transactions. So kind of nothing like if you feel like your account's been compromised and someone's taking your coins, you do have the ability to
But they're not going to be on Coinbase. So,
Nice hat.
like, hey, Joel, does this make me look like Harry Potter?
A little bit. No, it's good. I like the hat, man. That's cool. That's cool.
Expel Coinbase.
So what's your take on it, Joel? The level of centralization or decentralization you're willing to accept before you think?
Okay, well, first of all, who in EOS is voting on rejecting these transactions?
The block producers. So there's 21 block producers for delegated stake.
So 21 people have the power in the whole network.
At any given time. I think every few blocks you can vote people in and or out. So there's a list of all the block producers around the world, and they're all vying people to make them the current block producer for a certain number of blocks.
Okay.
So there's all these like campaigns in the build up to LiveNet where people were saying, okay, this is what we're offering. We have these data centers that are secure. Vote for us, and we'll do this for the community. We'll airdrop these, whatever.
Yeah. I think like, well, I mean, by definition, I think EOS is not a competitor to Ethereum. It's a different niche, right? Like they're looking at governance and customer service up front. And then whereas Ethereum is more, let's just get something out there, worry about security later and building on top of it later. This just build as we go.
Right.
I think EOS is, but it's not for me. I think EOS will always be good for building stuff where it's like a game or something where it's not your life savings, you know, tied up in it, right? So
just real quick,
payment away from the
sorry, Frank. I think there's only 21. Is it something like that? Like the 21 main block producers from EOS at one time or something? Is that right?
And they're voted in and out by the community.
So I don't know if I told all you guys, but I had dinner with Chandler Guo. I don't know if you guys are all familiar with him, but he was like a really early Bitcoin miner and angel investor. Had a huge Bitcoin mine in China back when nobody thought it was cool. And so we had dinner with him. So because we're planning this conference for September or whatever, but we haven't really talked about that much. So, but I actually asked him, and I've got a video. I might put it on the channel where he's really interested in EOS, and I thought that kind of made me think a little bit because he was mining Bitcoin in a huge way before anybody thought it was that. Like most people thought it was interesting at all, and here he is telling me, he thinks EOS is a pretty interesting project. So I'm like, that kind of made me think.
Is he vying to be a block producer as well? Because I know Bitmain were trying to be a block producer. So some of the mining firms were campaigning.
I don't think he didn't say flat out, but one can speculate. Like there's only so many people. If there's only 21 that could really, but it changes anyway. I imagine he could do it if he wanted.
Totally unrelated, but my laptop's gonna die.
Okay, so
yeah, but I'm gonna stick around until it does die, and then so you guys keep chatting. Come on.
Do you have a charger?
No, I left work without it. I have my phone, so I could also just jump back on. But maybe I'll just watch you guys.
I'm on my phone.
I know, I can tell.
I didn't know you could do this on your phone. That's awesome.
Are we all gonna go on our phones?
So Ozzy just doesn't want to talk to us anymore. That's what she's saying. Translation.
Yeah, I was told Joel wasn't gonna be here. So.
Fuck off.
I'm starting to side with Frank on a lot of things lately.
It's because Frank's had more FaceTime because I haven't been making it because I've been working. Wait till I battle back.
It's because I won't let anyone else get a word in. I just keep talking.
Yeah. Monopolized, man.
I hope Frank. But yeah, what were you guys talking about? EOS? I still like. We talked about this before. Not every coin's gonna do the same thing. You're gonna need multiple like coins or tokens doing different things.
Yeah, you
It's
can't
like
do it to everyone.
yeah. I hodl. I do think too though that I don't know. I like being able to reverse things. Like if you're gonna get the mass adoption, you're gonna have idiots missing. Like especially with how long keys are. Oh man, I'm surprised I haven't like lost anything myself.
Yeah, I talked to someone about this the other day, and I think I kind of upset them because I was like, I could envision a future where you log onto your online banking and you have like your Canadian dollars on one side and like your crypto on the other side. People are like, "Oh, I hate banks. Banks are the evil ones. We can't have banks." And I'm like, I don't know. I don't think this like system is going to completely just disappear overnight, and we're just not going to have banks. I mean, I don't think all of the world's money is just instantly going to go into crypto. So I could see, maybe banks hopefully facilitating this and making it user friendly so people can actually have crypto without getting it stolen or losing it. I don't think that's a problem because with multi-sig, they don't necessarily have to own your private keys. So, the system doesn't necessarily have to be completely controlled by the money powers.
That's a good point, actually. I feel like there will need to be some sort of transition for mass adoption. So, and if it means having banks act as custodians for an interim period as people get more familiar with how crypto works, and with each generation, people get more savvy. Like, look at kids today; they are so like comfortable around computers, whereas you go to an older generation and you try and get them to do something basic, and it's a nightmare for them. So, I think crypto is just going to be a part of everyday life for the next up and coming generation, whereas our generation is kind of like the in-between period, and the generation before us, they're clueless on it, and they may need services that make things easier for them to participate in crypto.
Yeah, totally, man. Like if we don't keep up on it, like people that are 30 or 30 plus years old right now, by the time kids that are growing up, like basically people like us, we kind of grew up and the internet was like a new novel thing that wasn't always around. When I was little, kind of aging myself, but we only had 2 channels on television and we watched it like once a week basically on Sunday, and then I just played outside most of the time for the first like 7 or 8 years of my life. And things have changed a lot, and so I'm sure that when I'm 50, 60, whatever, 70, I'm going to be totally confused by whatever's happening. And I can't wait for that because it's going to be a much better place. I can't wait till nobody can explain to me the technology that's being used by the, young people.
My mind was totally blown when the other day I saw a 5-year-old using a smartphone and like texting.
Right.
I was like, what? I actually remember having a rotary phone.
True.
I feel like I missed something because I obviously died and came back. But I don't think banks are gonna go anywhere. Like, why couldn't banks? Like, I don't think everyone will always just take care of their own funds. Like, banks will always be there, whether or not they're doing what they're doing now or not. Why are you squinting? Because I think people aren't going to want to. Like, I'm doing it because I think it's interesting, and I had to buy crypto kitties. So I went through the whole process of making my own account, getting my own wallet, etc. But my
You guys want to
dad.
hear a secret? Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt you, Ozzy, but I'm probably not supposed to say this, but there's gonna be, Dogecoin is happening this weekend, so I'm gonna quickly give a shout out for that in case anybody sees this. It's like Dogecoin.fun, so DOGECON.fun, and that's happening in Vancouver Thursday through Sunday this week, so through the 24th, I guess. And there's going to be something interesting, a really cool announcement that's going to happen with CryptoKitties and Dogecoin by Sunday night. So I would recommend that you have at least one CryptoKitty because there's going to be like a really cool, fun thing happening. I won't give it away because I'm probably not supposed to let the cat out of the bag. Let's say
I have 20 still. I can't sell them.
you're in luck, my friend. Just wait.
Good.
I
Couple
think
Gen 1 and 2s, but yeah, I did it for one day, man, and then I made $1,200 and then I got up.
Fucking kidding me? Sorry.
Seriously. Yeah.
That's amazing, man.
How cute are they? Show us your kitties.
I don't know how. Well, is there a chat function on this thing?
You
No.
could put it in main chat. If you could take like a screenshot, put it on Imgur, and then put it into the public chat as a link so other people can see it.
Does
They're
everyone
pretty-
here have a kitty?
They're pretty ugly cats, actually.
Mine's cute. Speak for yourself. You bought ugly cats. Sorry, I just got really
actually-
defensive.
I actually bred them.
Ew. Ew.
Cats are like babies. People don't believe there can be ugly cats, but there are.
No, I agree. There's ugly babies, cats. But no, I don't remember what I was talking about with CryptoKitties. Something about banks.
Yeah. Okay. Well, here's the deal on banks. My thoughts are, banks. Oh, down left. Banks don't care. They're gonna chase money, profit. So exchanges are making record profits now. They're providing a service. Banks are going to follow suit as soon as they realize that there's a demand. There's a demand for the product. So, exchanges could start accepting fiat and become banks.
Well, they are going to.
Well, yeah. So there'll be a hybrid solution, and at the end of the day, like right now, banks are rejecting it because it's threatening their business plan.
I'm hijacking the chat. I'm hijacking the chat because I want to show you guys my CryptoKitties. Sorry, can you see this?
Yes.
So
Ooh.
these are my cats. This is Kitty, and then also Kitty. No, Mr. Whiskers,
Polka dot.
Virgin Boss. He's my fave. Enigma and Master Whiskers. I actually gave one away. I gave one of my CryptoKitties away because somebody that's running Dogecoin didn't have a CryptoKitty. So I sent them my kitty so that they could get the surprise this thing that's going to happen with
You would
Doge.
give them away?
You can send them as a gift.
The one that doesn't have a name looks so sad. 797761. I'd be sad too if I had no name.
I don't know how to name it, or I think it was just like this.
Click on it.
No, it says right here. Yeah, that is the name. Oh man.
They all
that is-
have numbers. Mine only have numbers.
how
You
come
can
I-
rename them. You rename it.
Oh my god, let's do it right now. What should we call it, you guys? What? Okay, here.
Here.
Sorry.
Call it. I don't know.
What does it look like? It's got some pink, kind of light gray. Is there some kind of?
It's kind of cliche now, but my favorite cat, I named him Satoshi Katamoto.
Oh.
Well, I can't steal your name.
No.
What is it? Satoshi Katamoto 2. There you go. New name.
Okay, that's what it is.
Frank's not impressed.
No.
I'm zooming.
Do you not have cats? I mean, kitties or crypto
I'm
kitties?
just gonna there. How's that? Can you see that? Okay, I'll end this live stream.
You know what? Let's call that guy Frank.
Yes.
You know what we should do? If we ever get followers, I can auction up this cat on the channel for like a donation to something. Next video.
Hold on. What are that cat's mating statistics?
Let's see.
Fast replenishment, or is it take a while?
I mean, it's cat.
Cat.
Is it looking for somebody casual or more long term?
It's just it's just seeing what out there. It likes to hike. Just an
Frank, what are you into nowadays? Do you want to factor?
Oh, what?
It's your cat, man.
Oh, man.
I'm gonna go rename some of my cats. Frank.
Joel, have you been drinking? Because I have, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I had a couple. Beers.
Oh my God.
Joel, we should go. We should go hang out right now. Like, you should come to Dogecoin with me. What are you doing? You got family?
I gotta meet some family tonight. I got my brother's getting married this weekend, so I got people in town.
Yeah, that's exciting. Congratulations.
Thanks, man. Yeah. But sorry, I hijacked. Okay. So, anyways, banks will make money. That's what they're in it for, I think.
Yep.
What about exchanges? Exchanges make money. That's what they're in it for. So why are they any different? Like, why are banks so much more evil than exchanges? Why are companies and CEOs, they're in it for them?
I think because, like, sometimes they're the incumbent. So when there's an incumbent versus like a newcomer to the space, they might have ideological reasons that are like, for example, I often talk about this idea where with crypto, to me, it's like the first thing that I've found in life where you can kind of be involved, you can be kind of selfless and selfish at the same time. So I think if you're involved in crypto and you start an exchange to help the space grow and to, create liquidity and just kind of get it out there to more people, then you don't have to, like, your ideals, you don't have to be selfish to make money in crypto, in my opinion, just because I think it's going to change everything.
I think banks have had everything their way for so long
Yeah.
that they know we need them more than they need us, so they can treat customers like crap. Like, whereas exchanges know that they need us to survive, so they're providing right now anyway a better service that's challenging what the banks offer. And who knows, depending on how it progresses, we may get exchanges becoming more like the banks, or even overtaking them, supplanting the banks, and the banks fading into the background, or both just deciding that they have like the same interest at heart and merging or whatever. Because I know Poloniex got bought out by Circle Pay, who are JP Morgan backed or something. So I think both spaces are starting to overlap now.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at jobs that are supposedly going to be disrupted by robots in the next 50 years. Like a lot of jobs are just going to disappear, and the ones that are going to stick around are where people have to interact with other people. And I think that a lot of people still want to go to that teller and actually see them face to face and do business. So I think that's not going to go anywhere. I think that even if it's like a crypto bank and you have to go in and actually talk to someone and see them and talk to them and how was your day, I don't think that's going away.
Is that a generational thing though, you think?
I don't know.
I hate that. Not to shoot your idea down, but like to
Please, shoot it down. I need it shot down. If it's bullshit, tell me.
No. I mean, it's each of their own. But the last thing I do when I get in line is waiting behind somebody else that's chit-chatting to buy something at the grocery store. I just want, let's get this done. Like, I don't have any points. I'm using my debit, and I don't want to sign up for the extra save the child fund for $1. Just fucking get this transaction done, and I'm out of that grocery store, man. Like, I'm, for me personally, but it depends on, like, maybe that's your outing for the day. You want to do it, but like, it's given.
What if you're lonely?
Fair enough, but then you're holding up the line. But I understand what you're saying. It's personalized service, essentially, right? So that's why in Vancouver there's Einstein Exchange. You can go and buy your crypto and chat with the guy, and that is better than hitting an ATM machine or whatever, right? So
I was actually gonna say that. I was gonna be like, I went with Einstein because there's a real location with real people that I can go in and be like, help me, I've done something. Because I have.
One of those people that goes to the self-checkout.
That's what isn't that what Bitcoin and Beers is? We're like the customer service department for Bitcoin, basically.
I think I agree with you. Yeah, I think so. Because
okay. So how many people, when you call up any institution and you get the automatic voice message, automatically press 0 so you get an agent right away? I do that every time.
But it's only because the AI, the only reason I'd ever be calling in the first place is because you can't do it online, because you have to escalate something or do something outside normal parameters. So And then most of the times I'm calling, I don't even want the agent. I want the supervisor. Right?
Then who's like, give me your supervisor?
No, it's because I've already done it myself online, and it's something that is not out in the ordinary, right? So,
Did somebody say supervisor? What can I help you with?
No.
Somebody's. I've been drinking. Sorry, sir. My
How
apologies.
have you been drinking, Dan? I haven't seen you take a sip of anything. Like you're
Oh.
you're stealth. You're like a professional here. Do you have a bottle of vodka under your sink?
Nope, just beer.
He's like refilled it twice or 3 times already.
Several times.
I'm impressed.
You know what I want to do real quick before everybody ditches, because I want to show them, you guys. Have you guys heard of Totem? It's an exchange called Totem.
Nope.
So let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, I was about to grab one too since we're talking about it.
It's Bitcoin of beers, you guys. It's really healthy.
It should be a requirement that you have a beer while you're on this chat.
You don't have to.
Right, next time.
No, of course not. Sorry, that's like promoting alcoholism.
It's terrible.
Okay, do we want to ask what Joel's drinking? What are you drinking, Joel?
Yeah.
Yes.
Kate,
Can you
have
see
to
it?
it.
No, I
See it.
can't see it.
Vancouver Island Lager.
They owe us at least multiple dollars for this plug.
Oh shit. Anyways, are we live?
Yeah, yeah. Like people can see this stuff on the internets.
Hello, there is how many viewers?
My name's Frank.
We have one viewer. Oh, we're good.
Sorry.
The harder he laughs, the worse.
Eli, man, are you gonna make it out this summer?
Yeah.
Hells yeah. I'm going to make it out, especially this event in September. If that culminates, I'm like so down.
Sweet, man.
September. That's so. Come next week.
Ha! Yeah, I don't know. It's like a good drive out there. It's like 16 hours. I've done it zillions of times. But Dan's coming down here in a couple weeks, and then yeah, I'd like to come down in August.
Nice. It's a good time.
Yeah, I used to live in Vancouver.
Oh yeah, whereabouts?
My last place was Commercial and 12th.
Nice.
Yeah,
Right.
back before it was a ritzy area or trendy. Now it's like I go there and I'm like, holy cow, this place is like changed.
It's cute there, yeah.
I cannot
What's
find
it?
this exchange that I was going to show you guys. I'm going to keep looking. Total. Oh, here it is. Total.com, right? Total. Oh, sweet. I think yeah, okay. I'm going to do a screen share. I'll show you guys this. So, are you ready? Let's do it. Okay. This is it here. So, a little while ago, can you guys see this?
Yeah.
Did we lose Joel?
No, I'm here.
Okay, cool. So, oh man, my thing's still switching. I'll go. Okay, so I was on this kind of weird, I was kind of researching index funds, and I came across a few chat channels of the new products that guys that were creating stuff, and there was usually only like this one and another one. There was only like 10 people on their Telegram channel. They just launched within the last couple of months, and so I got in on the beta, I think, on this, and as well as the Crypto Squad thing, which I was telling you guys about. But maybe I'll send you guys an email later. So you can see this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's what it is. It's like apparently it connects to a bunch of different decentralized exchanges, right? So I don't know if there's a list of them here, but there's a bunch of different decentralized exchanges nowadays. Or what are some that you guys know of? There's IDEX, Ether,
Fork Delta.
Yeah, there's what else? There's a bunch, right? There's that people use, and so I think that this accesses or a bunch of the different DEX or decentralized exchanges that exist. And I remember I asked them, and they were saying they're going to try to add more, but they have to be totally decentralized. And then it gives you like an average price. I'm not sure how well it works, but basically you can just, I don't know if you guys can see this, but you can submit a trade. For example, I think I'm connected to a MetaMask where you have a small amount of money in there, and you can kind of move these around and create like a little bit of a kind of an index fund, and then you can submit a trade, and then it just accesses all the different DEXs on your behalf. I don't know. I'm getting a glitch. Maybe it's because I'm screen sharing, but basically using MetaMask, and then it just balances it for you. So there you go. It's done. I think it's done. Confirm the transaction on your browser wallet. So I have to open my MetaMask.
Do they charge transaction fees? Like what?
He just left.
How much transaction fees do they charge for their service?
Frank, he just left the chat.
Dan,
Oh, hello. Oh, where do you go?
he's gone, man.
He obviously didn't feel that we liked his idea enough and just left the chat.
Oh, he's back.
I lost you guys. Sorry. What part did I lose you guys at?
Just Frank asked you how much it costs.
Oh, it's free. I think it's free. I'm not sure. That's a good question.
Do they charge their own commission on top of the?
That's a good question. I actually don't know the answer to that. Anyways, I'm just so I've noticed this chat channel. Are you still there?
Yep.
Mhm.
Whenever
Yeah.
I do something with MetaMask, it closes my Google Hangouts chat, which is really
Yeah, maybe that's a security feature. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's actually probably good.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna I stopped that. And it's gone, right?
Just show us your keys, Dan.
I promise not to steal your crypto.
Yeah. But anyways, it's
No,
kind
if it's EOS, he can get it back.
Shots fired.
But that's the opposite of Ethereum Classic, man? Like, I don't know, Frank. Which one is it?
You got to have a bit of both. Like I was saying, right? There's not one shoe fits all.
But
That's
yeah,
on the condition that it's actually worth something in the future.
Oh, actually, Jack sent me this post about some guy who's posted his EOS private key, and he's challenging people to hack him or something.
Yeah, that's what I saw. I saw that, and then that's what I was thinking of. I don't know.
I'm curious to see how that turns out and how it operates. I mean,
What's your biggest? Okay, here's a question for you guys. What's your biggest? And Eli, I'm curious to see what you say as well. But your biggest sleeper coin, like you talk about whatever, but like one day, that's the ticket. What do you think?
Elastos. I think that's going to be massive. I think $10,000 a coin.
I've never even heard of them. What is it? What is it?
These guys are tired of hearing me talk about it in this podcast, so I don't know if I should. But it's an operating system for blockchain.
Okay. Let's buy it. Let's do it.
What do you guys think? What's your sleeper coins? Frank, what's yours?
I like what Ontology are doing, and also Icon. I wouldn't say it's a sleeper, but at the current prices, I guess it is.
But why? The Icon has competition. I'm curious. Why is like VeChain? What's the other Chinese one that's doing the RFD chips?
Hold on.
I think
Let's
they're doing
let
RFD.
everybody answer the question first.
I think they're a different market.
Well, no, hold on. So I just want to get everybody's answer, and then we can question and then ask questions first. Or is that okay?
Yep.
So we'll do Aussie. What's your sleeper coin?
I feel like I'm gonna sound like a shell, but BCPT right now, just because.
Which one?
BCPT, Block Mason.
Block Mason.
Yeah. Just because finally, I've been, I know what they're doing. They haven't been marketed very well, but their concept actually and their product, once it's out and actually explained properly, I think would be pretty big. But I don't know. You network.
Cool.
if that goes well as well. It's not really a sleeper.
My answer is Singularity Net,
Oh yeah.
AGI. I'm really fascinated with this project, and I just think, you know, if artificial intelligence progresses to the point where it becomes kind of ubiquitous in different, you know, in our day-to-day lives, it's like, if any project has even 5% of that space, it's like $1 trillion project, or half a trillion, like, you know, it's orders of magnitude larger than what they are right now. And, you know, whether it's a crypto company or a crypto project or not. So, but I think I like the idea of decentralizing and kind of creating access to AI, for opening it up to a larger, like a bigger picture view. So it's not just like an AI platform, it's a place for AIs to interact amongst each other. And I think it's a big idea. So it has a lot of potential if it really actually fulfills its mission.
Okay.
Now you, John.
Well, I think the next, like, I'm pretty convinced, like, there's protocol level coins, Ethereum, EOS, Tezos, whatever. Like, you're building something, it's an ecosystem you can build on top of it. I get that. But what I'm curious and interested in right now is coins that are going to start profiting and making money in the short to medium term. Like, so VeChain, for example, forked Ethereum, started building it their own way, and started, like, making deals, had a structured company, building their own products and sensors that would integrate with the chain. So you're building essentially logistics or supply chain management system, and you're selling it. It's a company that is leveraging blockchain now. So yes, they have their coin, and I don't know how it ties in with their profits and all that. But point is that they're saying, look, we have this theoretical stuff, but we don't, like, that's cool, but what are we going to do with it? And they're trying to do something. So that's why I like, there's some other, like, on some of these other, like, Asian or Chinese coins. Well, I say Asian because it's Korea as well. There's a couple of, like, overlapping supply chain coins. I think in the next, like, couple of years, if they can make some of these deals happen, like, man, it's going to revolutionize a lot of, it's going to stamp out counterfeiting right off the bat, and a whole lot more. So I wish, how do I show a screenshot here of some of these?
Is there a screen share button on the left side if you toggle on your phone? Maybe only my Banhammer works for that. So I can try to do it for you if you want.
Okay, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to send you an image.
Okay.
Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Trying to.
I went back to the chat thing, and can I send an image here? One sec.
You probably you can, or you can send it to me by email or WhatsApp.
Okay, I'll just WhatsApp you this thing and then put it up. Okay, if you can.
No problem.
Give me 5 seconds. No, it's really actually pretty cool stuff here.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, talk about something else, and I'll get back to me here.
What about Eli? Did Eli give his, or Frank?
He said ontology. Ontology. What?
Fire. I'll be right back.
I wanted to say something about what Joel just said. Are you guys familiar at all with a guy named Richard Hart? Do you know who that is?
Name rings a bell.
Richard Hart.
Is he the maximalist guy?
He started off as a maximalist, absolutely. I don't know if he is a maximalist anymore. I think he's kind of changed. He's grown a bit on that, but he had a conference with Ivan on Tech in Europe.
I watched that actually last week or something.
Yeah, and I posted that. And what he said was kind of interesting. He said that the most immediate use of blockchain would be in the digital domain. So this idea that blockchain is already applicable to sort of the distribution of digital information. So, like, copyright data, internet money, things like streaming, data sharing, storage. stuff like this, where there's not a lot of like physical infrastructure that needs to get built right out of the gate.
Right.
I kind of agree with him on that. I think in our next boom cycle, I think those are the businesses that are going to be the immediate winners. I think long term, you know, once the infrastructure is built, a lot of these things like supply chains and all this stuff and driverless cars and all this, I think that'll take off, but I think that's going to take more time.
Sometimes those aren't visible enough for people to realize the utilization. Because I know, back to Ethereum Classic, my little shill of it. Microsoft Office has a plugin that uses Ethereum Classic to do like copyright management. So you write a song or whatever, you can use this Stampery, which is built into my Microsoft Word, to copyright that. So that if somebody else comes up with same song lyrics or whatever, you can say, okay, this is timestamped on the blockchain, but the user just sees a button that just says use Stampery to date stamp this. And essentially they're using a blockchain without realizing they're using a blockchain. I feel like that's what maybe we'll start seeing, those use cases where it's like immediate, people use it. There's no telling them they have to get a wallet or this or that. It's just
It's seamless. Like, yeah, the average, I agree. If the average user is using something to achieve something, or an app or DApp or whatever, and they don't even know what's powering it, that's the ticket.
Yeah.
Can you guys see the image I'm sharing?
Yeah. So yeah, this is exactly what I was talking about. Some of these are overlapping functions, but essentially this is the ticket to a revolution, and it's happening in Asia. They're building like a Silk Road equivalent where it's only powered by, and all the stakeholders in place have an agreement with some of these projects. But yeah, Walton Chain, very interesting. It overlaps with VeChain somewhat, but VeChain and Walton Chain are targeting different markets. One's more luxury goods, one's more
I really like Matrix AI. That's on there.
Yeah, that's on there too. Some of these I'm not familiar with, like, but 2 or 3 that I'm not that familiar with. But like, I know most of these are like Asian.
You know what I just noticed, Joel, is like I feel like anyone I talk to that's really into crypto probably owns at least 2 of these.
Yeah.
If you have like if you're not just like all Bitcoin or all ETH or something, like you probably own 1 or 2 of these. Most guys that are or girls that are, or people, whatever, that are, you know what I mean? Like these are just.
Yeah, I think I have like 3 or 4 of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I
I
mean,
just
like
feel.
more, but-
Go ahead.
Anyways, some of these projects are building stuff for results, I'd say, if that makes sense. But I don't know. I like Polkadot because it's going to bridge everything together too, right?
Yeah, the future is unknown, but this is where we are. Kind of, this is like somewhat forward-looking these days. But I still think, in 10 years, we're going to look back at this and go, what the hell were we talking about?
What's left standing after 10 years?
Well, at least we got this video to look back and laugh at ourselves on now.
I didn't know I was re-recorded. That's not good.
Wait a second. I got something for you. I got to play that one more time. So there you go. It's shout out to those coins for sure.
Frank's not impressed. He's like, I didn't see any immutable.
There's no ETH Classic on there. What the hell?
Okay, but Frank, so that app you're talking about where you can timestamp and the user doesn't even know, you don't care if that was built on Zilliqa or whatever protocol, it's usable.
It's usable. That's what we want in this space, right? We want people to be using and not speculating purely, because it's only so far that speculation will take us until we start seeing use cases where
represent Aussie
value is backed up. Then we'll actually see progress in both price and utility.
Wait, show us your beer, Aussie. We got to get sponsors. What are you drinking? Put it
It's
up.
kind of like embarrassing because it's the only thing in my room right now, but
It's okay. It's the only time I can say put it up on the glass to a girl without being really inappropriate.
What does it
So
say?
we-
Squirt? Oh.
I know. That's why I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say it because it's so much.
What is? No, seriously, what is it? I still don't know what it is.
know. Here, you can read
Let's
it.
see.
But who makes it? What's the company?
I have no idea. I was hoping I could just
Can you just
like, find
turn the
that.
can some more so we pulled it up higher? Oh, this is awkward now.
Is that-
I still, anybody? I don't know what it is.
I think
Squirting oranges.
it's not, but
Right.
it's not though, because they've got like a purple one and like a lemon one, and it's called something different. It's Jaw Drop Cooler.
Oh, it's a cooler. I don't want them as a sponsor. Never mind.
Yeah, it's 7%, so I'm gonna get drunk for you guys. So
All right, respect.
I kind of feel like Chico has us beat in one sense because he's crypto in a cold one, which encompasses all drinks. We're just Bitcoin and beers. But you know what? You could do cocktails too, or coolers.
We're doing a crypto and cocktails next in like a week.
oh yeah, we are.
That's a great idea.
But really, when it comes down to the base layer protocol is Bitcoin and beers. But we're building on top of that with cocktails because that's a side chain. That's a two-way peg to the beers protocol.
Beers where all good things begin.
I have another question for everyone. What's everyone excited most to see coming into crypto the next few years?
I'm really excited to see how blockchain interfaces with the Internet of Things. I think that's going to be really interesting. I think that we can't even really imagine what that's going to be like in 5 years, but I think it's going to be like, you know, how we didn't see the social media evolution coming. I think that the new evolution, this Internet of Things, is really going to change our lives.
I want to say AI, but you know, there's a lot of FUD about AI that it's not really there and it's not going to be. But I think if and when it is, it's going to blow people away to the point where it makes smartphones and Apple computers look like child's play.
All right.
In my opinion, I think it's going to be very quick and very abrupt and maybe somewhat violent even. And maybe that's the wrong word, but I think there's a chance that even in our lifetime, those things, the AI could change the landscape of our lives very quickly.
Is anyone here worried about AI?
Gonna
I'm just
murder the
curious.
floor.
It's one of the only things that gives me hope, man. Like, because there's so much,
Wow.
there's just so much nonsense in the world. Like, even just in your day-to-day life, you find people that are just disingenuous, or small groups of people within a workplace, for example. There's this pettiness. There's just kind of this level of mistrust in human, just in our day-to-day lives, that I hope that could be disrupted by a kind of a trust layer, or like basically a grandparent, like a parent, an AI parent for all of society.
Or like a big brother?
Well, yeah, but people.
Or a replacement for all these people and you, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So, where we don't have to rely on a trusted third party to be fair, to create an egalitarian world. These are high hopes that I have. It's one of the only reasons I'm in crypto in a way these days, is I hope, even if not in my lifetime, in the next.
Have you ever heard that scenario that they sometimes describe about AI, like it's built to fix problems, and after going through various cycles, it realizes that humans are the problem, and then it can just fix
That's
it?
what. No, it's gonna look at who helped it achieve its get the singularity. So that's why you want to be on the side of it, because it's gonna look back and it's judgment day. It's gonna make decisions on
It's
who
not
helped
gonna
it out.
care. It has no emotional attachment to the fact that you bought
I don't know.
shares into having it
Okay,
created.
well, hey, I'm making my decisions. You make yours, and we'll see who survives.
Yeah.
I think that Dan's argument, where he's like, he thinks that they're gonna solve they're not gonna just solve your problem in that this and this. There's just, I mean, this is down the road, but they're gonna just replace us as.
Why would you? So I always talk about it whenever people bring this up, because I love this concept, and I think I look at it like a garden. I have a garden, right? And I don't just go cut all the plants in half in my garden just because I can, because I have a power. Like, to me, I'm the AI, my garden is the people, right? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to carefully manage the garden, and I'm going to care for it because, you know, it's beautiful, and, you know, it's natural life. And I respect it, and we respect the planet and the you know, the flora and
But
fauna that
you're-
grows on it.
You
But-
again, that sounds like emotions.
But that's where we
sounds
came
like-
from. That's where we came from.
Dan,
But
That's where AI will come from. Us.
Dan, I had a cactus once. I killed it.
Okay. Well, you know, sometimes that happens. And
How do you kill a cactus? You don't even have to water them, do you?
How do you do that?
I don't know.
It's a talent, really. It's a
That's not
talent.
the AI isn't anything like you.
But like again, you guys are
That's
being
what human.
emotional about this. AI is not emotional. Okay? Like
You know, I this is one of the times I actually agree with Ozzy on this, because I saw this debate.
we don't know that. We don't know.
I saw this debate between Steven Pinker and Sam Harris, and they were talking about this. And Steven Pinker is, like, you know, a neurophysicist, and he said, I mean, not that that makes whatever he says true, but he said that we want to attribute human motivations to AI. We want to think that the AI wants the same things that we want, but there's no way to know if it does.
No,
So
so just a second. I think we all, for some reason, because we think of AI as a computer, the computer in your phone that you're holding or you're sitting in front of right now. But instead of thinking about artificial, think about the word intelligence. So we are just blobs of meat and bones that have intelligence. And if I'm able to right now make a computer or some kind of cloud mechanism that I can put your individual intelligence into, like by snapping my fingers, now you're an artificial intelligence, and we get rid of your body. So what's to say that you can't have emotions?
I think that you're making a lot of assumptions there. I don't know if you can say that we're just data. I don't know if that's
What else
proven.
is there? Can you prove
So-
that I'm wrong?
so
No, but
actually,
I'm not an expert.
I mean, it's
like,
just
yeah.
but
Well, Joel asked me once if I believe in AI, and my answer, and will always be for this, is human beings just operate on chemical reactions. We just operate on chemical reactions.
right, it's still data.
AI operates on algorithms, on data and
Yes, AI as we know it.
calculus and numbers and all of that. So we go, I have feelings.
Mhm.
It goes logic, you know? And
So, like, I would say a plant is like, I see the sun, I grow, and then you're like, yeah, but you know, you're a weed, so you got to go. And we know better.
What? Sorry, I was laughing.
Yeah, that is something that I worry about too. Is like,
Why
if you-
worry?
if you just leave it up to logic, if you just leave everything up to logic, I mean, it makes sense to get rid of all the bad people.
No,
That's not a very humanitarian way to look at things.
From my perspective, if you really look into this concept, the evolution of this kind of technology is inevitable, and so trying to stop it's or trying to worry about it is kind of put like a waste of time. So you know, you might as well accept it. Like, maybe this life form that we're in is kind of just a step in the evolution of intelligence, and we're kind of trapped. We cannot connect ideas to each other. It's a very inefficient method of communication.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't disagree.
absolutely. Elon Musk talks about this, where he says that basically the only thing we can do to stop the progress of, or to stop AI from destroying humanity, is to merge with it. So we would actually be.
But the idea that this word destroy. What if the point of humanity is to move to the next level of intelligence?
Sure.
Why do we have to stay
AI
where we are
is
now?
natural progression. So, like, AI is the natural progression. It is part of evolution. I'm not worried about it. I think it'll happen. I do think that eventually, like, here's the thing too, you got to remember, cyborgs, as funny as the word is because of the movies in the past, are part of AI and they already exist. There's, I remember being in videos of cyborgs, because cyborg is just a human being with mechanical sort of machinery attached to it. Like, so if we can, I'm not saying it'll never progress, but we could always just have it as a part of us, and not, once you start creating, like, giving it its opportunity to, like, think on its own, then I don't know.
Have you guys ever heard of the Kardashev scale?
No.
So the Kardashev scale, like Michio Kaku talks about it a lot, and it's this idea of different civilizations. Like you have like a type 1 civilization who is able to harness the power of their entire planet. I think it's type 1. And then you have type 2 is they can harness all of the energy of their own sun, and then they can go into other solar systems. And then you have like interstellar civilizations that can go into like other galaxies. We're like not even a type 1 civilization. So we're just like literally getting started in this whole thing. So yeah, how do we know that AI isn't the next step of our evolution? I don't think we know that it's not.
I think most people that look at this question would probably agree that it's almost like the best answer to that question. Like it almost is, what's the other answer? We don't have any other answers for that. So yeah, so I think this is a typical Bitcoin and beers night if I'm there, because once you get to this level of like 3 or 4 beers,
I know.
I'm going to make the conversation about this. So I'm just going to stop and let people change it now, because this is where it's at for me. You know, we got to. So somebody else just help me out here, because I'm going to rant about AI.
Sorry, man. I'm like we're just like totally got off on a tangent there.
Oh yeah, big time. So back
Yeah.
to what we were talking about, I'm excited about scalability. Just how the different scaling solutions will impact what dApps and just how blockchain can move forward when we're not shackled by the scaling problems. So one thing I am looking forward to EOS is just to see what kind of dApps people now come up with. If it's going to be the same stuff that could have just been run on Ethereum or any other blockchain, then it was a waste of time. But if it really kind of like opens the gates to allow people to think out of the box, it's like broadband compared to dial-up. You know, it was like night and day. All of a sudden, you could do more with the added bandwidth that you had. You weren't shackled to, okay, this is going to take a minute to load, so I can't do X, Y, and Z. So,
I got a question for you about that. That's the scaling thing. So Hashgraph did a meetup in Vancouver. And I went out to that and asked them some questions and whatnot. And then, have you guys heard of Radix? DLT? Radix? RADIX? I sent a couple of notes about they had a like a beta release for their protocol this last week.
Is that a DAG?
Yes, but it's a different kind of DAG than you would compare to Hashgraph or IOTA or Constellation. And they have been working on it for many years. Just some really impressive, team members that have been around Bitcoin since the early days. If you haven't looked at their stuff, I would suggest you maybe take a half an hour and poke around. If you want, send me a note and I'll send you a couple of links with some videos and stuff. Because I've been following them since I don't know, for a while, months.
Are they still on testnet or?
I think they released their mainnet this 4 days ago.
Okay.
Or at least a test version of it or something.
Right.
Like for example, I can show you a screenshot. I just downloaded their wallet. I think they asked me to be one of their beta testers.
And now does it run smart contracts as well, or is it purely like transactions?
I wish that I could explain it a little bit better, and I probably shouldn't even try because I might get it wrong and they might watch this video, which would be embarrassing. But it's something along those lines of, kind of like a hash graph but using a different, it's called proof of meme, which I think is really interesting. It's a weird name, but if you look up the original meaning of the word meme, I think it was Richard Dawkins, because it's kind of like a new origin or of a new idea, and it proves that you are the kind of the originator of that transaction or idea. So it's a different concept, because like, for example, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Hashgraph and their like gossipable gossip protocol, using those old protocols from 20, 30 years ago or so. Anyway, thought I'd ask you about that, because
Paul's meetup this week was about DAGs. He mentioned proof of meme. He didn't like the name. That's all I remember, because I don't know much about it.
I seem to recall he had one issue with Hashgraph. I think there was something about I forgot. If you get some, you remember, Ozzy?
Vitalik Buterin tweeted about this, and he thought that DAGs were overrated. And now you have to kind of consider the source on this, because obviously he's going to be a proponent of blockchain because of his project. But I think one of the issues was network effect, which I think is kind of interesting, is this idea of incentivization. What's the incentive to promote Hashgraph if it's centralized?
Yeah,
I don't know. Exactly. Like, I mean, if it's, if only, a few individuals or corporations can be the miners of this, then what's the incentive to propagate the network? I'm not sure that I see that it's really going to catch on. I don't know, but it remains to be seen. I could be totally wrong.
Hashgraph is making a trade-off between centralization and scalability, I guess, and their supposed idea is to kind of, the way I see it, and I'm not obviously an expert, but is to replace Visa. And it looks like it's like a way to replace Visa or something like that, that you can, like Visa with smart contracts on it. Put it that way. That's ran by a bunch of large corporations all around the world, which is supposedly not centralized, but I have my doubts.
Isn't that kind of almost like a crypto plutocracy, because you have only these really sort of high value corporations or individuals being in charge of the governing of this, because they're the ones doing the securing of the network?
Yeah, they said that they're going to only have like a 2-year limit, and they're all going to be like really large, Fortune 500 companies or even bigger from around the world. And, I think it's 39 different corporations, and they have to have like certain ideologies behind them, supposedly. But if you look at a lot of the large companies in the world, and you kind of track the ownership and the people involved, it's often a lot fewer hands than you think. And it's worrisome from that point of view, but we'll see. I don't know what it's going to be used for, if anything, but to kind of like, the way I asked the guy was like, why should a retail investor that's involved in, like, why should the average cryptocurrency advocate or enthusiast be interested in Hashgraph? And he had some kind of like typical answer, because he was just like some guy that he's got to toe the party line. I don't really know.
Yeah, like personally, I don't think I'd want Hashgraph to win over Bitcoin. Not that what I want matters, but collectively, I mean, what do you guys think?
It's owned, somebody owns it, man. So forget it.
Yeah,
I'm with you. Like, I'd way rather have an open, decentralized protocol be the basis for the next world economy, rather than something that's owned by somebody in traditional sense, right? So, yeah.
It might have a use case that it just does very well and is used purely by banks, and we never even interact with it. Who knows?
Yeah.
Like Andreas Antonopoulos said it, and I thought it made a lot of sense. He said, without the decentralization aspect, databases work just fine. We've had databases for 60 years.
Yeah.
That's why the argument, like, it's not Bitcoin, it's blockchain, is ridiculous, because it's just a very slow database that doesn't, it's not an inefficient database with a, supposed decentralization that any, real power in the world can really easily mess with. And
Hey, everyone, look at Ozzy. She's cooking dinner.
oh, what are you making us?
You know that I don't cook. I'm putting things in the microwave.
Master Chef. Aussie
I
edition.
don't cook. Shh. But yeah, welcome to my kitchen.
This is like lifestyles of the rich and famous. Show us around your house.
Oh my gosh, that'd be funny. Okay, wait 1 second.
Show us your
This is
microwave.
the kitchen.
Oh, nice.
Nice. That's baller.
This is the
What area you live in?
dining room.
What coin did you buy?
Oh my God, you have that's a nice piano.
Ethereum Classic. What?
Can you play the piano for us? Can you
Yeah.
play? Go sit down at the piano and play us some songs. What are you doing?
No.
Yeah, right now.
The Ozzy show.
And you play the piano, or your
This is
The entire
this is the
hangout
one living room.
with Ozzy playing the piano.
The other living room.
Ozzy's rich. For anyone who's
I am
watching.
not. You're such a jerk. I'm house sitting. I don't know. But yeah, so it's really not my place, guys. I live here. So about DAGs, I don't know much about them, but Paul had a meet up about it.
Okay, let's talk about sentiment, market sentiment. Like right now, bad day down there. It was a nasty day on the markets. What's your 30-second blurb on where we're going to be 6 months from now?
Okay, I'll take this one.
Oh, Eli's up first. Go for it, Eli.
So here's my 30 seconds. I think people underestimate Wall Street. I think that these people that have been investing for
Wait a
since
second,
before
Eli.
I was born.
Hold on.
Okay.
This is for Ozzy. Wait.
Good Charlotte. That's awesome, man. I
Lifestyle-
forgot about that band. You brought them back.
Lifestyles of the rich and famous. You
Yeah.
just reminded me of that with your apartment. So sorry. I had to do it.
That's right up there with the Spin Doctors.
Come on, they're way better than the Spin Doctors. Actually, that's a good song though, too, right? Sorry, you were saying you had some opinion about something.
Yeah, I had some blah blah.
Market sentiment.
No.
No, you're on a roll. I really did want to know.
Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna listen to you, Eli. Okay, because you're gonna answer the question. But I'm gonna keep the camera on Ozzy's kitchen to see what she's doing.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Eli.
I'm kind of curious. I'm kind of curious what was in that bowl. Is that soup? Are you a soup person?
Wait, I'm gonna screen share some more music.
All right, guys, let's
Oh, what
finish
is
this
it?
off so that
Okay,
you
it's not
can
soup
serious
because she's
stuff.
using chopsticks.
This is curry.
Oh,
I have a girlfriend of mine who brings me food, and yeah.
Does she do your laundry too? Do you have a maid?
No,
You have a maid.
there's a cleaning person that comes once a week.
How much Bitcoin does Ozzy have, you guys? What the
No
fuck?
kidding.
I
God.
don't have.
She got into the Ethereum pre-sale for sure.
I'm telling you, it's a
Is
theory.
by Tron or something? What's going on here?
What?
I'm kidding about Tron. It's a
It's
terrible.
Ethereum Classic. I told you. It's. But okay, go on. Seriously, I'm gonna.
Okay, well, Eli was going to tell us what he thinks the market's going to do in 6 months.
Yeah, so like I believe in market cycles. So this guy Nikolai Kondroitiev, he talks about this like idea of Kondroitiev winter and all those kind of things. I see cycles and everything. I see crypto as a cycle that's way faster than traditional markets, is about 10 times faster. I think Wall Street knows this. I think that they're going to, because of slippage, they're going to use this next 6 months as an opportunity to actually dollar cost average into cryptos. And I think that the weak hands are going to be selling, they're going to be buying, and then they're going to pump up for the next bubble. So I think 2019, 2020 is when our next bubble is going to be, and probably we'll never reach these prices again.
Don't disagree. I agree with you. No. Okay, Frank. Frank, you're up, buddy.
All right. I think we definitely got another bubble coming up. I think we're starting to bottom out, though I say that every month, and I'm shocked when it doesn't bottom out. It just keeps going down.
Are you buying though? Are you buying these dips?
I'm trying to.
It's a fire sale.
Here and there. I'm looking for some projects that really stand out. So
Me too. Yeah.
not buying willy-nilly. Well, I used to do that before, and now I'm just going to be more selective about what I choose. I just want to see. I think we need something to be a flag bearer for all the money that's gone into ICOs and have been invested in crypto. We want to see something that comes out and shows that it was worthwhile. Like, this is better than what we had before. And of these ICOs, some of them still seem a long way off, and I don't want them to rush it out, but I would like to see some end product to what's
Augur.
up. Augur is
Again, to shill, but
Augur
there
is the
is
closest
Lender
one.
up there.
And again, I hope that it doesn't disappoint and come out to be something that, I don't know. Have you tried any of the beta test or any of the testnet? How's it so far?
It's right. Like, I guess the launch is going to have scalability problems.
Right.
It's going to be a little expensive to make a trade, but it's slick, man. The user interface is beautiful. You are going to have to download their app and point it towards a node. It's not hard to do, but you do have to.
Oh.
Yeah.
Already lose me there with those extra steps.
Can I hijack the chat again to show you guys about a little bit 1 minute video about Radix?
Yep.
Because we're here.
No.
Too bad.
Go to the bathroom.
Yeah. No, you can't. Okay, right. So can you see the screen right here? Do you see the whole thing or?
Yep.
Okay, hold on. I'm just gonna play it, see if you can hear it.
Digital transfer and storage of value is the foundation of any modern economy. Bitcoin and Ethereum were revolutionary developments that greatly simplified this process. However, they both have fundamental flaws, a low scalability limit caused by the very thing they are built on, the blockchain. To solve this requires the building of an entirely new type of distributed ledger technology, one that millions can use simultaneously, while also providing effective tools for innovation. Radix is that infrastructure, focused on giving anyone, anywhere in the world, friction-free access to the digital economy, as well as being able to power everything from peer-to-peer insurance to decentralized electricity exchanges. It's a completely new, trustless open computing platform, where each additional computer on the network increases the overall throughput of the network, providing an unlimited ability to serve the world across one unified protocol. Radix is the next step towards building a better foundation for the global markets of tomorrow.
That doesn't tell us anything.
I just picked the video on YouTube without looking and knowing what it was.
But
So
Dan, look, Eli left because of that, dude.
I don't blame him. So, but just to clarify, I watched a couple.
That sounded really interesting.
Okay, so
If you were gonna pick any DApp, I would have been use again, just shilling Lender.
just real quick though, I'm not shilling this coin. I don't own this coin, but it's not even released to buy yet. You can't even buy it yet. But I've been interested in DAGs or similar technology for a while, and actually, Joel, I think you were one of the first people to share, the importance of it possibly that it might have in the future with me. you know, you talked about Hashgraph with me before anyone really knew about it.
But the thing is, though, look, I don't mind. Like, maybe it's good, but that video is no different than.
I'm telling you, like, the guy that the head programmer of Radix, he was one of like an early person in Bitcoin, and he looked into it and he was trying to break it, and he tried to build off of it, and he did a lot of research. And if you actually watched, they did a live video explaining last week, and so. Cool. You have to actually do some research. It's like, I'm not going to play a 2-hour video for you right now, but it's not so. No,
but maybe you can help me out. Like in like couple sentences, what's the difference between it and IOTA or it and something else that is trying to go after the same market?
I'm not sure I'm capable of doing that in a quick order. So, but I will, maybe, you know what I'll do? What I can commit to do is research, and maybe I'll do a 10 or 20 minute video for this YouTube channel about Radix in the next month or two.
No, I'm not trying to put you under the gun here. I'm just curious, literally, because there is like hundreds of projects, and what makes this different? That's all.
Well, so I'm actually not very good at explaining all this stuff on the fly. Like, so what I will tell you though is that I've been doing a fair bit of like preliminary research in this space, and what the DAGs that I know about that are interesting are, you know, obviously everybody knows about IOTA. Constellation and Radix are the two that I know about that I think are important, that most people probably don't even know exist. How many of you guys have heard of Constellation? Even though I've shared it with you guys.
Heard the name, that's about it.
I've mentioned it a bunch of times since January, and Radix has been in development for like 4 years. So, you know, anyway, so Radix and Constellation, besides Hashgraph that everybody knows about now, and IOTA, those are the ones that, from my opinion, that I know of, that I've been exposed to. There may be other ones that I haven't been, that have potential to be interesting based on the technology. You know, there's like subtle differences in DAG technology. I can't profess to understand, you know, the finer details of the programming behind it, but I think that those technologies in general have potential to be disruptive, right? So especially if they're decentralized. We were discussing Hashgraph a little bit, so yeah. So I would say worth checking out, but I should probably do more research.
I'm not worried at all about DAGs taking over from blockchains. I can't see the incentive for people to verify transactions and also to use the system, because there's no ownership.
Well, I think what he's saying is that because DAGs, literally by definition, you can't really have logic built on. Like, you can't have smart contracts with DAGs. It's kind of binary. It's my understanding. It's like off, on, off. Like, they're going to use it for like Volkswagen is going to use it, right?
Okay, so for like niche kind of operations.
I think you can have smart contracts with DAGs. Am I totally off base here?
I don't know.
Where's Joel going? Are you going to show us around your house?
Show us.
No, I'm just relocating. It's all good. I gotta wrap it up here.
Theater room if you show. Okay, fine, never mind.
No, you got to show us your house, Joel.
I gotta wrap it up here. I got 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Boo.
Well.
So.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, well, this has
Where's
been.
your Bitcoin?
Hey, okay, so I'll say, Eli, man, nice to meet you, buddy. Maybe we can get together at some point.
Oh,
That's awkward. He's just asked you out in front of everyone.
Well, you should make. I'm saying you should make a trip out to Vancouver, maybe, and I'll see the rest of you guys next week or so.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, boys.
Yeah, totally, man. All right, later, man.
Yeah,
Good job.
have a good day tomorrow, and congratulations to your brother and on the wedding.
Thanks, bud. Okay, have a good night, guys. Ciao.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump off as well.
Okay, let's wrap it up then. Let's wrap up the chat, because I'm gonna try to head down to Dogecoin, see you catch the end of that. It was a really good night, guys. That was really good discussion. So let's do this again.
Great.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, thanks for putting it together. Let's do it again.
Yeah. Nice meeting you, Eli.
Peace.
See you guys in the next meetup. Oh, we got one organized next week, or should I set one up?
Oh, I thought you did.
I haven't done it yet.
Yeah, do it, man.
All right, no one's doing it. I'll jump on Thursday.
Sounds good.
Yep, sounds good. I'll see you then.
Cool. Nice meeting you.
Likewise.
Bye, guys.
Bye.